Ladies and gentlemen, 1 year ago last September, Bobby Allison spoke to the drivers and to this crowd from a hospital recovery room in Alabama. Today, we are grateful that Bobby Allison is here in person to repeat that message to the drivers and to this crowd. Bobby Allison, give us that message.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Sold out. 52,000 strong coming to their feet. The great champion Bobby Allison gives the command to fire the engines for the running of this Richmond 400. 36 strong, getting ready to pull on the track. And let's take a look at the 1989 starting lineup for this racing classic. On the pole, it's Bill Elliott in car number 9, his first pole position of 1989. And beside him, the unknown, the great Midwest star, Butch Miller. In row 2, it's Ken Schrader out of Missouri. And alongside, it's Texas Terry Labonte for Junior Johnson. In row 3 today, Davey Allison, last year's winner, is there. And beside him comes Rusty Wallace. In row 4, it's Ricky Rudd in the Kenny Bernstein car. And the 1987 winner, Dale Earnhardt. For row 5, Michael Waltrip of Owensboro, Kentucky. And outside of him, Mark Martin, still seeking that first win, the Batesville, Arkansas campaigner. In row 6, Sterling Marlin. Great run for this number 94. Darrell Waltrip, winner 4 times here, is alongside. Going to row 7, there you have Rick Wilson in the number 4 and Alan Kowicki carrying one of our onboard cameras. Moving back to row number 8, there's car number 10, Derek Cope, and Larry Pearson in the 16 beside him. In row 9 today, number 2, Ernie Irvin, and car number 33, Harry Gant, just coming to life there. In row 10 today, number 5, Bodine, and number 42, Kyle Petty. It's Dick Trickle coming next to number 84 from Wisconsin, Hut Strickland. Then it comes to Lake Speed in the row 12 area with Neil Bonnet in number 75, number 21. Row 13 today is Lenny Pond and Dale Jarrett. Row 14 will be Jimmy Spencer and Phil Parsons. Row 15, Jimmy Means and Dave Marcus. The 16th row is Bobby Hillen, and J.D. McDuffie is back from Sanford, North Carolina. Row 17, Brett Bodine and Morgan Shepherd. And in row 18 today, it's Richard Petty and Darren Brassfield to round out the field. Here with Alan Kowicki as we take the 2 preliminary laps to a start. 1 lap to green, and we're underway here on the Superstation from Richmond, Virginia, live. Great field, great day, John.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the start because Neil Bonnet explained to us earlier that everybody's going to try to get low going into turn 1, and I'm anxious to see how Butch Miller handles that because Schrader's right behind there, and they're going to try to jump in and push him up. Yesterday,
nearly 30,000 were here and saw the biggest upset of the season, Bobby Hamilton winning in Grand National competition this track. This could be an upset today. Butch Miller from the outside of row 1 would like to do it. The 2-time ASA champion, number 51. Amazing runner, runs 50, 60 races a year. Has been up on top with Mike Eddy in the ASA this year. Makes his next appearance, in fact, next week up in Salem, Indiana. Here he is, right beside Bill Elliott as they prepare to go to war. Pace car, Pontiac pace car pulling in. Field is ready. Get set for full contact, All-American stock car racing from its heartland, Richmond, Virginia, here on the Superstation. On the break, number 9, Elliott pops out in front. Infield sold out at 10 o'clock this morning. Every seat sold as they wheel through 1 and 2. Everybody on their feet, wishing them well. Down to 130 miles an hour here, gently onto the brakes into turn number 3. Elliott out in front and sinking back a bit is the 51. Miller said he just wanted to run well, not get in anybody's way for the first 100 laps.
Well, you can see Miller had a couple cars hung behind him. Rusty Wallace is now driven to the bottom. Earnhardt stuck out. Everybody's trying to get to the bottom because you're going to go straight backwards if you don't.
Number 9, Elliott On the pole for the first time in '89 is there. Schrader in the Hendrick car in second. Then the Junior Johnson number 11, Labonte next. And last year, it was Allison start to finish. From his hospital bed, Bobby Allison started this race. And from the finish line, Davey Allison blocked it all off. Here he is running fourth right now. Bobby here today. Talked to him yesterday, talking very seriously about, oh, got a crash in turn 2. Phil Parsons is in the wall. Looks like the Jarrett car is also involved and took some damage. Phil Parsons carrying our second onboard camera. Could have been a very short day. Look at the right front of that car, John.
He's backed the car off the wall and is coming around. Maybe it's just sheet metal up front. He looked like he had it stopped before it hit hard. He will go all the way around, I think, try to catch up and see if they can get that fixed.
Here he is coming down out of turn number 4. Let's see it. He is going to stay on the track, as John called it, electing not to come in and trying not to lose a lap. The field is approximately into turn 3 now as he comes to the start-finish line. Phil Parsons in car number 55, showing a lot of smoke as that fender is rubbing severely on the right front tire.
The pace car is just coming out, and Phil will be at the back. And since there's so many cars there, he's not going to have a real advantage unless the pace car goes very slow.
There's the incident, and you see Jarrett was in it. Parsons was in it. Dale able to drive off and come around.
Jimmy Spencer came awful close and missed it also.
Phil Parsons making his way back to the pits in his 5th appearance here in the Richmond 400. More in a moment. The Crown Petroleum car of Phil Parsons came in, changed 2 tires, started to come out, got trapped in the pits. Here you see the field going by to put him a lap down. Now, the Cale Yarborough car being driven by Glenn Jarrett also pitted at the same time. He was able to get back out. Damage wasn't quite as severe. Here's Parsons coming on again. I'm sure he'll pit one more time if possible. Get some more work done in that car.
Yes, Dale Jarrett didn't seem to have the problem that Phil did. His car wasn't beat up as bad, but Phil is coming around trying to get back in, I'm sure, as fast as possible. But you can see how the cars are lined out. You don't have time to get in there and fix the car. 1 to go.
1 lap and they'll turn them loose. We are now at lap number 7. Accident in lap number 4. Bill Elliott leading, Ken Schrader second, Terry Labonte third, Davey Allison fourth, Butch Miller is fifth, Rusty Wallace in 6th, Ricky Rudd 7th, Michael Waltrip 8th, Dale Earnhardt is 9th, Sterling Marlin is 10th. 11th is Mark Martin on this restart with 12th Rick Wilson, 13th Derek Cope, 14th Alan Kowicki, 15th Darrell Waltrip, 16th Ernie Irvin, 17th Jeff Bodine, 18th Larry Pearson, 19th is Gant, and 20th is Dick Trickle. Kyle Petty lies 21st as we get set to go. Neil Bonnet back in 24th as they're ready to turn them loose. Jimmy Means back in 26th. Marcus is 25th out there, getting set to go. You see the action taking place on number 55 as they're going to take another lap before they turn them loose. Light has come back onto the pace car. Here they are whipping number 55 to get him back out of the pits in the Crown Petroleum car. Phil Parsons getting back out here after getting socked, and one of the officials rushing out to get something off the track is now going back onto the pit road. Found a piece of debris just in front of the finish line. Take a look at that immense crowd. The old Richmond Fairgrounds, stomping grounds for Curtis Turner and Joe Weatherly, all those great, and Bill Champion, Wendell Scott in the old days.
I think this is one of the best facilities in America to watch a race. You get the feel of a super speedway, but you're close enough to see the cars, and it's just a perfectly designed racetrack, and Paul Sawyer's done a heck of a deal. Phil Parsons went behind the wall to try to get this thing fixed.
Caution is still out. They're going to take one more lap under yellow here. They've given them a provisional start twice, then reneged on it. This is the 5th time that Parsons has been in this race, and this track hasn't been very, very good to him. A 27th, a 20th, a 24th. Here's Dave Despain.
One of the stories that we'll follow all day long is the charge to the front, and that pays a premium in Winston Cup stock car racing thanks to the True Value Hardware people. They have $50,000 in year-end awards that they'll be putting up based on the guys who get to the front. 5 points for leading a lap, 4 for second, 3 for third, 2 for fourth, and 1 for fifth, all the way down through the top 5 spots. Let's take a look at how they stand coming into this race today. Rusty Wallace leading the way in the standings for the True Value Hard Charger Award. He has compiled more points in all of the previous previous races. Now what we'll do is keep track all day long of who is sitting on top in terms of the true value points and update you on a total of $5,000 awards that will be paid just for this race. But those points also count toward the big payoff at the end of the year. No surprise that it's Wallace and Earnhardt on top of the standings, and don't be at all surprised if they are right at the head of the field here today as we follow the action from down pit central. Bill Elliott out front. Let's get back to racing.
Looks like we're going to take one more lap before they'll turn them loose. Parsons is behind the wall, as Johnny Hayes mentioned. To have it back, let's go to Charlie Harville.
Phil Parsons sitting in the car as they work on it. Phil, what happened to you?
I got hit from behind, Charlie, coming off turn 2, and it turned me around right in the middle of traffic, and somebody hit me and knocked me in the wall, but one of those things, I guess.
Can you tell how the car is handling at this point?
Well, it knocked the rear end housing over so bad that it really wasn't handling well, but I don't know that I didn't have a flat tire too after I hit the wall, after I made some pit stops, so we'll have to wait and see.
Phil Parsons trying to get back in the race.
10 laps complete. Light is off on the pace car, indicative of a start this time by. You can see the mark out there on the back straightaway wall where Phil Parsons was in contact hard.
Yeah, he hit it good. And again, when you're racing that close, you're at the start, people are getting impatient. And most of all, when you're at the back trying to work your way to the front, things like that happen. And that's just racing.
Bill Elliott stays up in front. Schrader in second. Labonte third. Allison fourth as they come down for the start. Pace car is in. Miller edging down to the inside. Here's the rest of the field in the back straightaway as they come to the stripe. Back under green after the first caution of the day.
You can see Rusty Wallace got a great jump there. Picked off 2 cars. He picked off Davey Allison and Butch Miller. Earnhardt coming up on the outside. And see, everybody's been afraid to try the outside. And Earnhardt says, hey, I'm going to take it. And he's flying to the front.
Earnhardt working the outside. Here you see the 27 Wallace as he fights his way up. He's in fourth, working on Terry Labonte. The moves are on the outside of the racetrack right now.
Well, it's not unlike yesterday, Ken. People they're afraid to go up onto the outside at first, but now they see it's working. Everybody's going to start going too wide.
Now we're getting a second report here, John. The 27 car has been given a consultation flag for jumping the flag on that restart.
Well, I thought he got an awful good start. I mean, he did, but so he's going to have to pull it in, pull down pit road, stop, and go back out.
Here's number 9, Bill Elliott out in front, and he's pushing that lead out a little. And here comes Wallace onto pit road. And he almost loses it on pit road. He slid sideways entering. Here he is. It'll be an in and out for Wallace, who jumped on the start.
He'll have to come to a complete stop. Now he can go. And it's going to put him in the back of the field, but he did not lose a lap, and I'm sure he'll be mowing to the front.
Bill Elliott in front. Schrader still second. Man on the move. Good battle going on back in fourth spot.
This is 3 wide at Richmond, Virginia. Isn't that beautiful?
And look at number 3, cutting right through the middle of them.
Ricky Rudd, one of the native sons, is giving these boys all they can handle right there.
Earnhardt's the man on the move, however. Here he is, just lambasting traffic, using a lot of muscle, shouldering. Used to do that a lot on the half mile. Gives you some idea of the speed. Even on a 3/4-mile track, these cars are able to entertain. Number 94, a little further back. You see the Sunoco car trying to wind its way through that traffic as Davey Allison makes a move. That's the blue and yellow car on the outside of the white car. Now you're watching the black machine, number 3. That is Earnhardt in fourth. In fifth is Rudd. In the 6th spot is Davey Allison. Right behind him comes Sterling Marlin in that 94. Sterling Marlin breaking to the inside of the 94. The Billy Hagan car down to the bottom. Good move by Marlin. Has last year's winner pinned. And there is Mark Martin going all the way around to number 6. And Kowicki takes him head on.
Kowicki knocked Martin around straight so he could go on.
Alan Kowicki, who's had some unfortunate incidents of recent in the Xerox cars, has another one of those cars, 5 cars in the team. This one now beginning to show some smoke, and he's having some trouble handling that thing as he gets it down, tries to get it in here. He's taking a lap before he pits it. Number 6, Martin spinning. There goes Butch Miller around the outside, ducking the bullet. And Kowicki, Sacco, right in the nose.
Nowhere to go.
Bill Elliott in front, Schrader in second. Another look at it here.
I think he just pinched it down so low. I think he got on the flat part of the racetrack, and the rear end just kicked around on him. I don't think he and Davey Allison even touched.
Wilson just getting by on that one too. So 2 cars down. Second caution of the day comes at lap 17. Elliott sustains his lead. Alan Kowicki in trouble, pulling onto pit road. We'll be back with more in a moment. Working on Alan Kowicki's car here today, which had started in the 14th position, just behind the wall. There you see him out of the car, and they're still working to try to get him back into the event. Let's take a look and replay again at what happened from the Xerox in-car camera to Alan Kowicki. There you see the 6 breaking away, getting in trouble. Mark Martin in the Jack Roush Ford slipping by, and no place to go, head on. As Wilson got through, Kowicki ran out of room. Hard lick. Charlie Harville down there with car 7.
Alan Kowicki's out of the car, has the helmet off. Can you tell how much damage you have, Alan?
I can't hear what you said.
Can you tell how much damage you have?
It cut one of the oil lines or busted oil cooler or something. It's just unfortunate. You know, we didn't even get started here, and Mark spun in front of me. I just had nowhere to go.
You're going to try to get back in the race, though.
We're going to try.
Alan Kowicki attempting to get back into the race. His crew still working on the car.
The young man who turned down a ride with Junior Johnson because he wants to do it with his own team. My hat's off to him, but boy, the adversity he's faced in the past several weeks has been tough.
It's a shame, because I talked to Alan 10 minutes before I came up here, and Alan Kowicki thought he was going to win this race. He said the car was perfect, it was working well, and boom.
Here you see the car number 6 working in the nose of Mark Martin's car, spinning in turn 2, bringing out second caution of the afternoon. Reviewing the field for you, Elliott is first. Terry Labonte has moved to second spot. Ken Schrader is third. Earnhardt up to 4th. It's Ricky Rudd in 5th. Then in the 6th position is Sterling Marlin. 7th is Davey Allison. 8th is Michael Waltrip. 9th is Butch Miller. And 10th is Rick Wilson. 11th Cope. 12 Irvin. 13th Gant. 14th Pearson. 15th Trickle. 16th Waltrip. 17th Hut Strickland. 18th Kyle Petty, and then Lake Speed. Here's Dave Despain.
Now, this has been a very eventful race so far for Winston Cup Championship contenders. It's a good tight battle up at the top of the heap. As we take a look at the points, here's Dale Earnhardt sitting on top. He's moved up to 4th in the standings. But look what's happened. Rusty Wallace has already had an early penalty and dropped all the way to the back of the field. And we just saw Mark Martin hitting Alan Kowicki. Actually, the other way around. Martin spun, Kowicki hit him. But these two guys are hot on Earnhardt's tail in the championship standings. And they both had bad luck early on here at Richmond. Remember, this was the race that essentially cost Rusty Wallace his run at the championship last year. He's already had a bit of bad luck. Earnhardt is in the catbird seat right at this moment. Let's go back to pit road and join Mike Joy.
Well, Mark Martin has just completed his 4th pit stop of this caution period. It first looked just like cosmetic damage to the front end sheet metal, but where that sheet metal was pushed down over what would be the headlight on a passenger car, that's where the oil cooler is on these Winston Cup machines. And you must get air to that oil cooler to keep the engine from expiring on a 90-degree day like this one. So as long as this caution period lasts, they will continue to bring him back in and try to get enough air into that cooler to keep the engine healthy. It doesn't look like the front end, though, was bent out of alignment. Here's Martin coming back in. First stop, they just pulled away the sheet metal. Second one, they gave him tires, and from the third one on, they've been working on this left front corner of the car. All that carefully built ductwork and screen work for aerodynamics and the rubber bumper cover may now all have to come away to make sure of getting clear air in there where it's needed most. He has not lost a lap in the process, though, I don't believe.
Here you see Mark Martin's number 6 pulling out, coming back on the track. 1 lap and they will be racing. We're continuing on Alan Kowicki's car. He set on the pole here in '87, then crashed in that race. Last year came home a 5th place finisher, but today, real adversity early on.
Well, it'll be fun watching these guys come from the back, because Mark Martin is right behind Rusty Wallace, and I'll guarantee you they're going to try to mow to the front because they don't want to get lapped by Bill Elliott.
Spectacular day, spectacular crowd here in Richmond, Virginia, as the Superstation brings you a great American classic. The Richmond 400 from the heart of American stock car racing. Weatherly and Turner. It's Schrader third, Earnhardt fourth as we get set to go, and we'll be watching to see if Earnhardt tries some of his moves early on as we get set here. Don't forget the Superstation will be with you at Charlotte, North Carolina, Sunday, October 8th for the 500 there. Don't miss it. Here comes Elliott bringing the field down out of turn number 4. There are 25 laps complete, 26 as they come to the line this time. And it's Earnhardt on the outside, braking quickly. I wonder if he may bring up a penalty. There's that number 3. He jumped around Schrader on the start. As they came to the line, he came up on the high side.
The green flag was waving when he jumped. I think he just got a good jump and it was ready to go.
And he passed on the outside. Can't pass on the inside of that NASCAR rule. I think he may be okay, but boy, did he make a move on Schrader. Back they come to the line. And car number 6 is right back where it was before in turn 2, the wall. Something has broken on Mark Martin's car, and it's stuffed right in the wall. Here's the front of the field coming by him as he tries to crawl that car lobster-like down out of turn number 2.
And I think those guys probably should have listened to Neil Bonnet's information on how to get around this racetrack, because he called it in the opening that second turn is the worst place to get off of. And I'm sure something broke on the car and just shot him right in there.
Let's take a look and see if we can see what happened here. The Jack Roush Ford dives in, back of the field, tries to go around Rusty Wallace. And away it goes. You saw Lenny Pons, number 90 there, just flipped away.
He just got too anxious. He tried to go on the outside, and that is the place Neil said you could not go on the outside, and you get out of the groove and you're going around.
Black flag is out on number 6 to get that car in. Need to have a little consultation here about the front end of the Mark Martin car. More live from Richmond shortly. We're back with you at Richmond Live. 2 laps under green have been run. We're now showing 32 of the 400 complete. Ken Schrader on the restart jumped the flag. He came for a stop and go. Is back on the track at the tail end of the field. Mark Martin's car is still being worked on. And car number 9, Elliott, is still your leader with Terry Labonte right there contesting in second. Third place machine, Dale Earnhardt. And fourth is Ricky Rudd. Earnhardt fresh out of victory. Darlington, South Carolina, really looking strong in the early going.
Telling you, Terry Labonte's car's looking really strong. He's been there the whole race almost, and he's all over Elliott, and he will try to force this issue to get a lead lap.
Butch Miller has dropped back into the 9th position behind Rick Wilson. Seems secure, happy to stay there. And our 2 in-car cameras took a lot of abuse early in the go. First Phil Parsons, and then Alan Kowicki getting knocked out. Here's number 11, Terry Labonte, coming down to the inside, making a challenge. Ford against Ford up in front. Further back, Rusty Wallace, who was in 32nd, is charging through the field.
Brett Bodine is coming down pit road. He may have a tire going down.
Bill Elliott stays up in front, and he's getting a lot of heat now from number 11. Bill, are you having to work harder this year just to keep up with the competition on the Winston Cup circuit?
Well, you do. You know, in this business, because of the competition and everything else, it just drives you harder and harder each year, and I don't know what you can do to try to curb some of that, because you know you're working everybody to death as it is, and there's not enough hours in a day to do everything you want to do. But yet, you know, racing used to be 10 months, and it went 11 months. Now it's 12 months and 24 hours a day, and you know it's a tough business.
Tough indeed. Tough already on Alan Kowicki. Parsons. Tough already on Mark Martin.
Brett Bodine just climbed out of his car, and he's almost running to the garage area. He's certainly not a happy camper today, but they're pushing his car behind the wall. Looked like they had motor problem.
Car number 15, Brett Bodine, who had started well back on the inside of car 17. Another early non-finisher from this event. Number 15, Bodine, falling by the wayside. Here are the 2 leaders still at it. Terry Labonte hanging right in there, looking for his own team a year from now.
I think it's interesting to note Bill Elliott's performance here. We talk about how much this place resembles a super speedway, and look at the old king of the super speedways, Bill Elliott, romp and stomp around this place. Winston Cup championship, very, very hard to defend. This guy didn't get even a shot at defending it, really, because he broke his arm down at Daytona before the first race of the season ever started, and it's been catch-up all year long. I think what you're seeing here today is the evidence that Bill Elliott has caught up. He's got himself in the Busch Clash with the pole that he won here, and with Labonte all over him and the Elliott fans going crazy, he is demonstrating that he has lost none of his touch. The team has lost none of his desire. And the guy chasing him, Terry Labonte, is in a very interesting situation because, as you mentioned, Ken, he's talking about starting his new team next year, but he's not talking talking very much about it. Still a couple of rides available if he wants to go be a hired gun, but it's high time he was making his announcement of what his plans were going to be in terms of sponsorship and so forth. Right now, I think his plan is to pass Bill Elliott and take the lead.
Well, he told me the other day he had 4 cars complete, and he was intent on getting his team started this year. He's well underway, has a shop going. Here he is running nose to nose in the back straightaway. I think he is actively seeking the sponsorship, but the team is coming together. Here he is in the lead with Elliott in second, and there's Earnhardt pulling ever closer with that Chevrolet in third. Ford 1 and 2. Change of leadership. And we have a car spinning, and Larry Pearson gets T-boned. Not hard, but hard enough as he spins in turn 4. Oh, that's a tough one.
Boy, Lake Speed did a great job stopping that car. He bent it a little bit, but
the hood blows
the
up.
hood
He
blows
comes down
up.
the main straightaway.
He's got to look out, hold his head out the window to even see where he's going now.
Lake Speed, he owned Larry Pearson in turn 4. Larry Pearson lay sideways in the track, and Lake did everything he could to get it low. He took a little damage in the nose. And what an unfortunate time he's having. He's been star-crossed recently.
I tell you, he's been in several accidents. He was hurt. He's making his comeback, running fine today, and comes out. Nothing he can do but drive right in the side, and then the hood blows up.
Now here he is completing another lap as he doesn't want to go a lap down. He'll try to go in and get it fixed, and here's the replay. There's the 83, and up in front of him, there's trouble. Larry Pearson is going to spin. When he does, watch what happens. Back straightaway, they're into 2, headed for 3. Larry Pearson is up about 1.5 seconds in front of them on this 3/4 mile track. Here's the 27 car. There you see, here's Waltrip getting in contact.
Yeah, and I know why he spun. Waltrip turned him around.
27 to the outside. Tried everything to miss him. Just barely collected him. Lake Speed into the side of Larry Pearson. And he is now on pit road with car number 83.
Alan Kowicki is back from behind the wall and is back out on the racetrack, so maybe Alan can make some headway and get some good, valuable points.
Hut Strickland on pit road, and the Oldsmobile of Lake Speed being administered to now with 44 of 400 laps complete, live at Richmond.
TBS Sports Live, Richmond International Raceway. We've plugged in the 3/4 mile track distance in our Timex Speed Track computer. We punch up every lap and keep track of who's running fast. And so far, the quickest lap we've seen is Bill Elliott's 22.99, 117 miles per hour. Let's see how that stacks up as we get back to a green flag.
We come down to complete lap number 47 as they go back to green. And car number 3 goes to the inside. Earnhardt going for second place. Earnhardt on the bottom of the racetrack puts the Chevrolet beneath Bill Elliott. Goes to second. Labonte leading at number 11. Back straightaway, Terry Labonte and the Junior Johnson Ford is in first. The Richard Childress Chevy right there leaning on the rear bumper. Down to the inside. Great struggle for the lead as they come into the main straightaway. It is Earnhardt, bottom of the racetrack, and the man in black goes to the lead.
I tell you, Earnhardt's getting great starts. He has a gear in that car that really will come up to speed fast. And, I think Phil Parsons just came out of the garage area and is back in the front too.
Leaders coming around with number 3. Another leader change today as Earnhardt goes up in front. Second spot, Labonte. Third, Elliott. Fourth is Sterling Marlin. Phil Parsons, after taking a lap, looks like he's going back behind the wall. The Crown Petroleum car of Phil Parsons in big trouble is back in the garage area. The new leader is Earnhardt, trying to stretch it to 2 in a row after that sensational victory last Sunday in Darlington.
Rusty Wallace has come from the back all the way back up to 12th place, so I think he's sitting there saying, Dale, don't get too comfortable, but I'll be up there with you in just a minute.
Sterling Marlin into 4th, and what a run he is making today. Ricky Rudd is in 5th. Rick Wilson is in 6th. Here's your leader, number 3, Earnhardt. Down to Mike Joy.
Well, the arteries in the veins of Mark Martin's car have been severed. They'll put a new radiator into it. Mark, what happened to it?
Well, first time I had a little contact down there in the corner and spun the car out. Got a little bit of damage in the front end.
Big crash in turn 2.
And the second time I just lost it.
We have a crash in turn number 2 with 2 cars going up toward the wall. I think one of them is Jimmy Spencer.
And Kenny Schrader.
Here's Schrader's car coming around, and Spencer, and yellow is out.
I think Schrader tried to move under Spencer, and Spencer was trying to hold him off, and they just got together, and both of them spun.
Headed for the wall. I tell you, this is the definitive this is the essence of short track racing. You miss here and you're in the concrete. That's the 5th caution of the day, and it comes with only 52 laps complete. Let's look at the end of it again. There's the 25. Here's the action as it happens. They're already away. They're already spinning.
Yeah, Schrader had gotten about up to the door, and then they both made contact, both spun out. But, you know, they preach patience on a racetrack like this, but they don't listen to themselves. It's great. They're going for the win right here, and we've run 53 laps.
Let's talk about tires, Johnny Hayes. Radials are on all the cars here today. They're different from bias ply tires. They feel different. They drive differently. We saw a few people hit the fence in practice, and we began to ask around the garage area, what's the story on the tires? The drivers all said the same thing to me. Tires are very consistent. The speed is consistent. A fresh tire or a tire that's been out there for a lot of laps, you don't see a whole lot of difference. But where they are different is that the car doesn't forgive you very much. It'll break away in a hurry, and when it breaks away, it's hard to save. Is that what we're seeing here with all this spate of concrete smacking?
I think it is. You know, we discussed that at length this morning, and you have to be careful and you have to be cautious, just like Alan Kowicki said, because if you get no warning with the bias ply tire, you get a little warning, you can run it loose, it keeps going away on you. But you go to the radial, there's no warning. Boom, you've lost it. So you really have to have your car dialed in.
54 laps are now complete. Here you see the 25 car on pit road. Schrader's machine taking on rubber after it got abused up in turn number 2. This looks like it's going to be a Wreckham rodeo all day, John.
Yeah, it's Lake Speed is slowed on the backstretch like he's not even going to be able to make it around. And I tell you, they're aggressive. It's getting late in the year. It's time to make up those points, and everybody's going for it.
Pace car is coming in. They're going to try for a start right now with Earnhardt out in front, and Terry Labonte, who ran so well here last September in the first race on the new track, right there in second spot. He says we were strong back in the spring until we had some trouble, and we've learned a lot about these Fords since then. Let's see what he's learned right here.
I love it how they're rolling the dice on these restarts. Earnhardt jumped Labonte last time. Labonte tried to get him there. They're anticipating. The spotters are playing a big role, telling them when to go. That flag's out, but everybody's rolling the dice to get up front. We've only run 56 laps, so we're going to have a great day.
All those spotters collected on the roof down in turn number 1, talking to the drivers on these restarts to try to get them just a 3 or 4 foot advantage getting on that throttle. Number 3, Earnhardt draws the lead, pulls away by 5 car lengths. Meanwhile, back behind him in the 4th spot, Bill Elliott's being challenged. There's the 94, Sterling Marlin of Columbia, Tennessee. Down on the bottom of the racetrack, making his move. Sterling puts the Oldsmobile right in there.
He put the metal to him. He knocked Bill a little sideways. Bill held on to it. And here comes Ricky Rudd right behind him. This is really a physical race today. I'm shocked.
You got to be kidding. You come to Richmond and you're shocked when they get a little physical out there?
Yeah, but this is supposed to be a modified super speedway, and they're hitting each other just like it was the old half mile.
58 laps are complete. Here you watch Elliott find a sustained 3rd spot, and you're watching the Sterling Marlin and Ricky Rudd try to take it away.
Every time I watch these race car drivers, I think the great quote Muhammad Ali made when he failed the draft test. He said, "I was the greatest. I didn't say I was the smartest." And I think that sums up some of our Winston Cup drivers.
Car number 26 goes down into turn number 1, Ricky Rudd, and right with him goes the Wilson car, number 4. Wilson running in 6th spot, nearly won yesterday's Grand National race, the Commonwealth 200. And then he got crashed out of that one.
I tell you who's moving to the front. You can see right at the back for a second the KGO veteran Harry Gant moving by one of his students, Michael Waltrip, and Harry Gant's moving to the front quickly.
Dale Earnhardt out in front. Dale, you're in a position to win your 4th Winston Cup title. What could cause you to lose it?
Well, I feel like the only problem we'll have, if any, is be dumb luck. You know, you had any bad luck right now. That's the biggest thing that hurts everybody in points right now. But if our luck is turning around, we feel like, and looking toward the last 8 races here, we look in good shape.
Of course, the last 10 races are on his kind of racetracks. Looking very strong for the end of the year as he gets down to places where he has a lot of success. Earnhardt in number 3. continuing to draw away, but Terry Labonte stays right with him as they put a lap on Richard Petty in the main straightaway. Here's that third place battle. Bill Elliott into fourth, the Oldsmobile number 94 right with him. Going around Richard down here in turn number 1. With them comes number 26, Ricky Rudd in the Buick, maintaining 5th. Olds, Rick Wilson back in 6th, Harry Gant to 7th, Bodine is in 8th, and Rusty Wallace has driven the race of the day. He has just been flying through traffic. It was 32nd about 20 laps, 25 laps ago. Here's Petty pitting. He's up to 8th, Wallace. Here's Petty pitting. 7-time winner here in this event. 200-time winner in his career. It's been a long time since he's tasted victory, and here comes that battle on the inside. It's Sterling Marlin down to the bottom of the racetrack and picking up another spot. Sterling Marlin looking very smooth out here, edging into 3rd. Moves Elliott back to 4th in the number 9 car.
This is one of the best runs Sterling's had all year. He is really coming to the front, working hard, and you know Sterling's an aggressive race car driver.
Now you see the green car behind them. That's Rudd climbing back into this race in 5th. Then the yellow Kodak car. That's Rick Wilson, followed by Harry Gant, Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace up there. Michael Waltrip is back in 10th. Michael hoping for a good day in the Bahari car. The car number 3 out in front turned the last lap at 115 mile/hour average. Petty is back on and limping.
One guy I'm really happy for on the Dale Earnhardt team is Eddie Lanier, the engine builder. Came in under a lot of pressure. A lot of people said he wouldn't be able to get the job done. I think he does.
Battle for 8th there. You saw the car number 27 working on Bodine. Good scramble going on for 8th. That is Bodine on the outside as they get Wallace pinned on the 43 car. They're getting loose up there is Michael Waltrip, and back comes number 27. And as he moves in, Rusty Wallace is now 9th again. Bodine is back to 8th.
When you put Rusty Wallace back at the tail end of the field, as we've seen him today, there's Harry Gant working on Rick Wilson. Wallace just takes hold of that like a bulldog. That whole team gets so inspired. Remember last year, something like 9 or 10 times, they came from a lap down to get back on the lead lap, and 5 times they won the race. You give that team adversity, and they'll rise to the occasion. You can see the rear bumper pretty well caved in there. Rusty Wallace got a shot in the back. That's a little unusual. It's hard to hit that guy from behind. Point here is that all of the contract talk and the lawsuits and everything else surrounding Rusty Wallace is forgotten when he gets in that race car. Put these guys at the back of the field, as that stop-and-go penalty did early in the race, and they will just charge to the front like there was no tomorrow, and it's a great sight to watch. He's working on Bodine.
Battle for 8th. Bodine is there in the 5. The 9th spot is number 27, Wallace. This is your leader, number 3, Earnhardt. And there you see the interval back to 2nd place as they come out of turn 4 between leader Earnhardt and 2nd place Terry Labonte. Bill Elliott, he's back in 4th. Number 9 car going into turn 1. 70 laps are now complete. A rocky start, 5 cautions in the early going. If you're just joining us in our live Superstation coverage of one of America's great racing classics, Richmond, Virginia, the heartland of American stock car racing, this brand new 3/4 mile track. We saw you the first time a year ago. We got a crash down here in turn 4. Hillen is in the wall. Bobby Hillen crashing.
Again, we had contact. That's racing 2 or 3 deep, and people bouncing off of each other. And like you say, I think it's the tires, just a little touch, and they go around.
He was running in 18th position. He spins and backs it into the wall. Didn't look too harshly.
And I want to make it perfectly clear, it's not that the tires are good or not bad. It's that these fellas aren't used to running these speeds this way that loose on a radial tire.
Here it is.
Good morning, Hut Strickland. Let's see where Hut hits him. In the door, in the 8. Oh, Ernie Irvan jumps right under there. He touches Hut. That's just basically, if you hit you in the door, it's not tires. I apologize for saying that the tires went away. That's called in the door spin.
Well, into the pits will come number 8 with a lot of abuse. He got hit by Hut Strickland. More live from Richmond in a moment. One of the highlights of the week was the awarding of the U.S. Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award to the driver of car number 7, Alan Kowicki, by Colonel Forrest Giles.
Thank you, Ken. Mr. Alan Kowicki, it's my pleasure to present you General Shear's Commander's Performance Award. Being a front runner and a top contender requires a great deal of tenacity and perseverance on your part. Difficult enough not being an owner and operator. When you have to own and operate your own, makes it that much more difficult. Your managerial skills surround you with qualified crew, and I know this has a whole lot to do with you being a top performer.
Thank you. On behalf of myself and my entire team, we're very honored to accept this award, and certainly appreciate it very much. It does take a team effort to run up front in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, and the team effort of my entire team is what's kept us up there. Once again, we thank the Air Force for this award.
Well, we got about a lap under green, and then we're back under caution again here as Kyle Petty has wrapped the wall in turn number 2. Alan Kowicki has returned to competition. Talk about teamwork, that Xerox number 7 car. They worked hard and long down there in 90-degree heat. They put him back on the racetrack, and as he came out and came onto the track, he's about 24, 25 laps down. Car number 42 socks the wall. Kowicki got out, came back in, made another pit stop, and he was playing in and out tag here under caution. Gets it back out. They go green. Bang. Kyle Petty's in the wall. Let's see what happens. It goes away on him, and he socks the wall. I'm not sure how that one started.
Well, Hut Strickland bounced off the wall a little further in front of him, so maybe the two of them got together somewhere in the turn.
Let's get a word from the STP Pit Center. Here's Dave Despain.
Just a moment ago, we saw Bobby Hillen hit the turn 4 fence with a little nudge from Hut Strickland, and it brought to mind the progress that Winston Cup Stock Car Racing has made. All of these guys are big stars now, and one of the things that makes them big stars is those little postcards that they pass out to the fans that they can put their autograph on. How far has racing come? Well, even the truck drivers now have their own autograph cards. Yes, indeed. Eddie Vogt here drags Dick Trickle's car to the racetrack. He started out driving the truck for A.J. Foyt. He's getting over some hospital time. Eddie, we wish you well. Rodney Pickler is the guy who drove here with Bobby Hillen's truck. There's plenty of room on there for Rodney's signature. Rodney's going to take a wreck home from Richmond today, Ken.
Just send us a line if you'd like a free postcard on one of the truck drivers here in the series.
Well, they happen to be the hardest working, best group of guys, meanest guy, tough guy. Truck drivers, you hop in a truck and drive from Denver, North Carolina to California, turn around and come back and then go to Michigan. We're talking men, none of this high school junk right going out here and run for 4 hours. Those are the men of the sport. Truck drivers, I stand up for you and I support you, and I do think the race car drivers are wimps compared to you guys.
Well, you've certainly done your missionary work today, Reverend.
Yes, sir. I tell you, they got great names.
Stop for coffee in Shreveport and then go all the way to
Yeah, and they got names like Widowmaker. You know, I mean, these are real guys driving these trucks. They don't take no junk.
Here we are with Dale Earnhardt out in front. We're still under caution, and we'll be back with Bill Elliott trying to challenge for the lead live at Richmond in just a moment. We're back with you at 82 laps complete of 400 to be run. Richmond Fairgrounds, the old Richmond Fairgrounds, the home of the new Richmond International Raceway. The second of the races in the fall series on this track. Yesterday, Bobby Hamilton from Nashville won in Grand National. Today, it's going to be a contest right to that final lap. Meanwhile, we've had 7 cautions in the early going. What's the story here, John?
Well, NASCAR's advised us that there's a lot of rubber on the racetrack, indicating heavy tire wear. I hope Mike Joy will get a chance to check some of the tires that are coming off the cars to see if there is a problem.
Here's number 3, Earnhardt, as you see, coming down through the tri-oval, the main straightaway. And Jimmy Spencer right behind him with Bill Elliott running in 3rd spot. The Winston Cup point leader, Dale Earnhardt, earned the nickname the Dominator en route to his 1986 and 87 championships. All right, now, Dale's back on top. But is it the same Dale Earnhardt? Will the real Dale Earnhardt please stand up? The Earnhardt who won 3 Winston Cup championships with a hard-driving, fender-banging, intimidating kind of style. His foes called him Ironhead. The Earnhardt who lost last year's crown was a reined-in, toned-down shadow of his former self, driving constantly scrutinized by officials, team subject to the same failures as everyone else. So who is Dale Earnhardt in 1989? At Daytona, he was the heads-up hero, nursing a sick car to 3rd place ahead of faster competition. At Rockingham, he was the iron head of old, trading paint whenever the occasion called for. With 2 wins, including last week at Darlington, once again, he's the man to beat, the Winston Cup point leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Team's really pumped up for it, and they're working hard, and the consistency's there. And anytime you're competitive and consistent and can finish in the top 5 position and win some races, you're going to be tough for that championship.
He's tough in anything he runs. Here he is. The Goodwrench Chevrolet, number 3, Earnhardt leading. Let's check in on that tire story. How about it, Mike Joy?
Ken, we have 2 Goodyear tires here off Mike Waltrip's car. The top one is a brand new racing tire, and you see how slick and smooth it is. Here's a tire that came off on the last pit stop. It's scuffed a little bit to show wear, but also there is a bit of extra rubber sticking to it. We don't normally see this, but there is apparently a lot of rubber being deposited on the racetrack, and when it lies there loose, it's still hot. It just kind of gums up and sticks up on these tires. Now, that shouldn't change the adhesion too much, but one thing I think Johnny brought out, radial tire, whether it's a street or a race tire, has very different breakaway characteristics from a bias ply or even a belted tire. On those tires, the breakaway of traction is very, very gradual. You feel the tire start to go, and you have a lot of time to react to it. The way the radial tire carcass is designed, the tire grips, then all of a sudden, it's gone. That's what's happened apparently to some of our drivers here today with their first experience with racing radials at Richmond.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, I think it's also the thing that's really helped a lot of these cars spin around is somebody's door
or
fender,
bumper,
hit them in the back, gouge them in the side, turn them around. I think that's 90% of our problem right now, not tires.
Kyle Petting's number 42 that got seriously dinged in turn number 2. He's okay. Car still being picked up, being hauled away. So we're under caution here. Time to get a Goodyear Racing update. Find out what's going on around the country. We'll get to that very shortly. A lot of other racing this weekend. As you know, Elkhart has a big race up in Wisconsin with the Indy cars. The IMSA series is out at Sears Point, California today. 5 races today. So let's get an update right now. Find out what's happening in the world about us, the world of motorsports, and go to the Goodyear Racing Center.
Thanks, Ken. You're right. There is a lot of other racing action going on this weekend out in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Road America is playing host to the Kart PPG Series. Danny Sullivan on the pole for the Texaco Haviland 200. Now, yesterday, some controversy in the Trans Am event there. Dorsey Schrader won the event. However, he's not going to receive any prize money or any points on the season because of a rules violation. Now, yesterday, 40,000 fans on hand here at Richmond International Raceway for the Commonwealth 200 for Grand National cars. Pole sitter Tommy Ellis in the number 99 Buick jumped out to the lead at the start in this one. Number 1, Mark Martin, then took the point. However, he was soon replaced by another Winston Cup regular, Rick Wilson, as you see in the number 75 car there, diving to the inside. Late in the race trouble, Wilson and number 7 Harry Gant both got into some oil laid down by Kenny Burks. Gant, who was running second, got the worst of it, as you see. Fortunately, he was able to walk away from this one. Now on the restart, Bobby Hamilton, who started 29th on the day, took command, held off defending points champion Tommy Ellis to take his first ever Grand National checkered flag. The 31-year-old Nashville native who ran on one set of tires all day said he was lucky to hold on.
It started leaking oil. They found oil leak in it up here. The officials did, and they just tell me in the car, just hold on. You know, we thought we was going to have another bad luck deal. It was just unreal the car lasted like that.
And finally, the Thompson 300, the most prestigious modified event of the year, is being held at Thompson Speedway in Connecticut today. Points leader Mike Stefanik will be on the pole in that one. Well, that's it for this Goodyear update. Right now, let's go back upstairs to Ken and Johnny.
Thanks, Bob Richards. I'll tell you what, that boy yesterday, that Hamilton, I think he's got a great future. Keep looking around for new. You're always talking about new drivers, and there's the big dozen. Butch Miller should move into the big dozen. Brassfield in a couple of years, Darren Brassfield's about as fast. He likes super speedways. You know, get him over 200 miles an hour, and he smiles. He doesn't smile before that. And then as you look over the rest of the field, this Hamilton kid looked just marvelous in this event.
I was really impressed, and I was talking to a friend of mine, Eddie Thrapp, about how tough it is to find good race car drivers, and he said, you're absolutely wrong. They're like telephone poles. They're on every corner. There's millions of them. You put them in this kind of equipment, this kind of money behind them, there's people all over the country that could jump in here and run competitive. So there's a lot of good racers
Then
out
why
there.
do you talk about the dozen? Why do you talk about the, those number one key rides, key seats?
Yeah, because there's 13 teams receiving $12.5 million up to $4 million a year in sponsors. And our old buddy Banjo Matthews said money buys speed. There's some great race car drivers out there, but there's a bunch of people back here in the back. You put them in a Rick Hendricks car, a Bill Elliott car, those kind of cars, they're going to run well.
We're still under caution. We'll be going green in a couple of laps. We'll pause for a commercial message and then back live to Richmond. We're back with you live. They have just retaken green, coming around to complete the lap with Dale Earnhardt in front, Jimmy Spencer in second, Bill Elliott in third. Ernie Irvin's number 2 is in fourth, Terry Labonte is fifth, Bodine is sixth, Rudd seventh, Gant eighth, Pearson ninth, Wilson 10th, and Wallace 11th on this jump.
Jimmy Spencer's having a great run. He jumped in there. Earnhardt got by him a little earlier, but he's able to hold Bill Elliott off right now. And Ernie Irvan also has made a great move. A lot of these people know race cars are open, looking for new drivers, and I think they're showing their best to try to get one of those rides.
Here's Elliott getting in contact with the 88 of Jimmy Spencer. Spencer pulls away, stays in second spot. Meanwhile, Earnhardt stays up in front in the number 3 car. Charlie Harville has a report on that car.
I'm down here with Cecil Gordon, who's the shop foreman for Dale Earnhardt, and he's been talking with Dale on the radio. What's Dale talking about, Cecil?
Well, Dale was just talking about how hot it was out there today, and he said he didn't mind how hot it is right now because it's going to be cool in Canada. He's going up there deer hunting and bear hunting in November, then it's going up where it's nice and cool. That's what the man's been talking about during that last caution play, how cool it was in Canada.
Well, he certainly came here loaded for bear. He's out in front big time. Now the battle for second place steams up. There's the 3. Here's that battle for second. It's Elliott in the Ford on the bottom of the racetrack. The 88 getting pinned on the outside as they go down into turn number 1. And Jimmy Spencer's Pontiac is going to fall back into third spot. Ernie Irvin's number 2 is also falling a spot back as Terry Labonte comes up on the inside. The number 11, the red and white car. That's Labonte picking up a position. He's into fourth. Field back underway, 96 laps now complete, and drawing away by 2 or 3 car lengths a lap is Earnhardt.
Well, the reason he's drawing away, these other cars are racing side by side for position, and it just gives him a free run. He has nothing in front of him. You'll see as things get going, these cars will start running back down again.
Look at the job Ernie Irvin's doing in that number 2 car. He is running a terrific race thus far. Up on the outside, gets himself nestled back into the bottom of the racetrack between Bodine in the 5 and Rudd in the 26. Bodine in 5th, Irvin in the 6th position, 7th position, the green number 26 of Ricky Rudd. Good race there. And here's the number 11 working on Jimmy Spencer. This Jimmy Spencer in 88, that's your Mr. Excitement.
I tell you what's exciting about this guy is not only the way he earned his nickname, Ken, which was by willing to be able to get in there and push and shove in open-wheeled cars in the NASCAR modified division where he's a former champion, and also in the Grand National League where he cut his teeth last year, but also in terms of the future that his car owner predicts for him, and that car owner should know because Buddy Baker owns that automobile, and he whoa, Mike Waltrip's backwards on the racetrack. Waltrip will try to cut it around and keep it out of harm's way. Nice little handbrake style turn there to avoid the oncoming traffic. Fire breaking out beneath the car for Mike Waltrip.
Turn 3. Turn 3, 99th lap. And I think the tires are giving them fits today. They say you can reach down and grab gobs of rubber down here in the second turn that's building up. And here's the number 30, Michael Waltrip, looping in the Bahari Racing Team car. Here's your leader, number 3, Earnhardt. And we're a fourth of the distance. We're under caution. Let's look at it again.
Looks like he just got out too far, glanced her off the wall and went around. That's exactly the turn where everybody's hitting. He's hitting Phil Parsons' tire marks every time. 2 or 3 cars have hit the same place. Watch the fire jumps out, and then he restarts the car, and it snuffs the fire out immediately. I don't know where the fire came from. You see it jump out, and he'll restart it, and it'll just blow right out.
Build up in the headers. Number 30, Michael Waltrip. He's on pit road now. The lucky guy there, Jimmy Means, 52. Here's Mike Joy.
Mike Waltrip spin. They're going to change all 4 tires on that car, and we'll get a good look at the condition when they come off. Waltrip told his crew he just got a little too high up on the racetrack, up in what they call the marbles, where that loose rubber sits, and it's like trying to drive on marbles. The car just got away from it. Right side tires changed, left side's around. Get a look at them after they come off the car. A little bit of rubber buildup on those tires, but they don't look to really have a problem. It looks just like he got up out of the groove, running around.
Ken, this is a great time to say hello to Michael's mother. You know, she had a stroke recently, and she's back out of the hospital doing great. Daryl and Michael's spirits are so good, Ms. Waltrip, so we're glad to see you doing well and feeling good.
Coming down for a restart. She better not watch too much of this one.
No.
Put her back in the hospital where this race is going. Hope you're feeling well, Ms. Waltrip. And to Tim Sullivan, our friend that looks along with the Motor Racing Network, who's on the minute, major eye surgery, was always at Richmond. I don't think he's ever missed a race. First one I haven't seen him at here. Here's number 3, Earnhardt busting out in front. That's the number 21 car. A lap down now. Neil Bonnet trying to hold on up in there. Number 9, Elliott is in second.
Now
And then they're 3
the race.
wide. Jimmy Spencer on the outside. Your Mr. Excitement was certainly exciting there, John.
Woo! That is great. I mean, I would pay to see this thing, and I get to see them free.
Here he is in the back straightaway. Number 5, Bodine there. It's Jeff Bodine in 4th. Number 11, Terry Labonte. 88, Jimmy Spencer, all in that bundle. The green car, Ricky Rudd. You're going to need a program next year at Daytona. What, 18 changes so far for next year?
Yeah, I think we found out today it's moved up to 20. We'll have fun doing that in Johnny's gossip column later in the program.
Here's car number 5, Bodine there. Jimmy Spencer hanging right with it. Great modified driver out of Berwick, Pennsylvania. Look at him go.
And what I like about these, he's really racing the best guys in Winston Cup, and this is his first year in it, and that's really on a quick learning curve.
Number 88 stays right in the hunt. Here's number 11 down to the inside and gets underneath 88 for 4th. Dave, you want to finish that story?
Buddy Baker picked Jimmy Spencer because Buddy likes Jimmy's style. He's a flat foot kind of a race driver. That's the way Buddy drove the car. That's the way he wants his man to drive it. The car's not hooking up right now. You've seen him lose a couple of spots, most recently to the 26 of Ricky Rudd. Buddy told the best story up at Michigan earlier this year about why he likes Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy's the kind of guy, he said, that if somebody came up and said, Jimmy, there's somebody waiting for you outside the pit gate. He wants to talk to you and he's got a gun, that Jimmy would say, well, I guess I better get me a gun and go see what he wants. He's just a fighter, and right now he's fighting to stay alive here against the onslaught of Harry Gant. Buddy Baker likes this guy, and I think that bodes well for his future.
Oh, it's like for Buddy Baker just looking into a mirror. They have exactly the same mentality. They're both big, giant, rough, tough guys, and I sure wouldn't want to take either one of them on.
Here's the number 9. Bill Elliott in that second spot. Jeff Bodine is in 3rd. Terry Labonte is in 4th. Ricky Rudd is in 5th. In 6th is Jimmy Spencer. 7th, Harry Gant. Ernie Irvan falls back another spot. Now Rusty Wallace comes up to 8th. Sterling Marlin is right up there in the top 10. There's the Sterling Marlin, number 94, right behind Wallace as he clambers through the field. Watch Wallace working on Harry Gant. Complete rundown here on the field. With 100 laps complete, we're actually working 110 at the present time. Here you see the number 9 of Elliott. The 5 of Bodine is really in there tight. The one that's pulling away continues to be Earnhardt in number 3, John.
Well, Earnhardt loves it because these cars are still racing side by side. There's Neil Bonnet with Bill Elliott right going with him. But Earnhardt's just on a Sunday afternoon drive. But here's the thing that holds it up and lets him ride. You see how long it takes Bill Elliott to get by? Then there's just a wad of cars there racing side by side, and the cars are going sideways, bumping off each other. And Elliott's just racing the racetrack. He doesn't have to race any cars at this time.
Ernie Irvan spinning a little up in turn number 2, gathers it up and keeps on going, but lost about 4 spots. Look at this contest as the 9 car of Elliott, Bodine in the 5, and Ricky Rudd all run tightly together there. Jimmy Spencer in the 88. He's still showing in 6th spot. Is having a car owner like Buddy Baker an advantage or disadvantage to you, Jimmy Spencer?
I'm further along than he thought I would be at this time, and you know, that's a compliment to Buddy Baker, really. I mean, he is very, very
observant of what's happening all day long in the race, and tries to help you drive in a little easier, drive in a little harder, drive this angle. It's so important to have a person like that with all that experience in the tower working you, and I think I have a big advantage already at a lot of the racetracks. Now here, but he's never been here, but still his experience, the 25 years he has raced, it can only benefit me, and it's working real well.
There he is in sixth spot. Jimmy Spencer. Darren Brassfield has just pitted car number 40. Looks like a left rear tire change. 114 are complete. Earnhardt stays first. Elliott stays in second. Bodine is in third. J.D. McDuffie is just pitted. Apparently he needed a new cigar, and old J.D.'s back out again. Checking the interval here between first and second. Earnhardt in first. Bill Elliott in second.
Right behind Bill Elliott, where the real racing is going on, you can see the cars going side by side, fighting, gouging. Rusty Wallace has been running real hard trying to make the move up, but he just can't get by Harry Gant. Harry Gant can't get by Jimmy Spencer. They keep trying it. Sterling Marlin's in there fighting with them, but they are racing all the way around this racetrack.
Car number 27. It's Rusty Wallace in the 8th position. Here we are seeing the fight with number 33 Gant. Slugfest for 7th here at Richmond. Harry Gant, who's had some great runs of recent, looked terrific out here yesterday before his car got scattered up in turn 4. Look at Jimmy Spencer holding them off.
And Harry Gant's not going to try to force the issue at this time. He's going to sit there and ride. He's seen all the wrecks, taking it to the ragged edge, and he's smart enough. He's going to ride along, but if the opportunity comes, he'll try to make his move. I think Rusty will try to force the issue pretty soon to get by this, and I know Sterling Marlin's all over Rusty Wallace's bumper, and he wants to get by.
Harry Gant says he's 100% healthy after backing into the wall hard yesterday. You saw it on our Goodyear highlight report. And behind him, Rusty Wallace seems to have kind of stalled for the moment. He's trying to work his way under Harry. Remember, he started back in 36th. He's the leader in the True Value Hard Charger points coming into the race. Those points paid in the top 5 positions. And number 27, everybody's Charger, is at the top of the season-long ranking. But today he's not piling up any points. He charged from 36 to 8, but I think he's learned now, as he knew well coming in, it's a whole lot easier to pass those back 30 cars than it is the 7 that are still ahead of him. His charge for the moment is stalled. Rusty Wallace being hounded there by Sterling Marlin.
Rusty Wallace and Sterling Marlin staying right side by side now to the line, and Sterling Marlin is trying to move underneath his number 9 Bill Elliott. Fights off number 5 Bodine down here. Bodine getting very aggressive at this point. That's second place. Elliott in second, Bodine in third, Ricky Rudd in fourth. Terry Labonte is in the 5th position, the red and white number 11, the Bud car. Then comes Jimmy Spencer. But the class of the field remains Earnhardt. Joining us up here in the booth, very short day, dramatic moment for Phil Parsons. What a clip you took in that Crown Petroleum car over there in turn number 2. How you feel?
I'm fine, Kenneth. I really hate it happened. The car was working well. I passed a couple cars, just a few laps I'd run, and I got clipped from the rear and turned around and then got hit again, and that did all the damage. It bent the rear end housing so bad that I think it messed up the gear in the rear end housing, and it would have taken too long to fix it. So we just decided to park it and I'd come up here and sit in this nice air-conditioned booth. You don't have it tough at all.
Draw up a chair and enjoy yourself. We got a great race going here at Richmond International Raceway. And Phil Parsons out early after getting wrapped in turn number 2 has joined Johnny Hayes, yours truly, along with Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center. Charlie Harville, the veteran racecaster, is on pit road along with Mike Joy. Cover all the details of this contest that now sees Bodine Chevrolet creeping up to take a real shot out here at Elliott as they scoot around this track. Oh, and car number 5 and 9 really had a meeting of minds in turn number 4. That looked a little serious, John.
Well, I think it was like a slam job right in the door, and everybody else tries to drive by, and Bill was at least smart enough to get it under control, pull it back in line. These cars are not in danger of getting lapped, so they're going to stick together and try to take care of it for the time being.
Since we have the good fortune of having Phil join us in the booth, Phil, let me fire a question at you. I don't know if you've had a chance to really watch enough of this contest yet to have a firm opinion, but we've seen a lot of guys hit the fence here. It's been yellow flag city all day today, and we've been speculating, is it tires or is it just aggressive short track style driving? Have you had a chance to form an opinion on that yet? We know what caused yours. What's causing all the rest of these go-rounds?
Well, Dave, I think it's probably a combination of the two. You know, the radials are very new to us, so maybe a lot of the drivers don't know exactly what to expect. But this is a short track, and you're going to have a lot of bumping and grinding, and the fact that we're on different tires than what we're used to, the normal bias ply tires, that maybe, you know, maybe that's when a car gets out of shape, maybe it goes around quicker. I really don't know. I didn't run long enough to find out.
You didn't get much time on the track, so again, a theoretical question perhaps. One of the things Mike Joy has noted is an abnormal amount of rubber buildup on the tires. The tires actually picking up rubber off the racetrack rather than the other way around. What might be causing that, and what might be the effect of that?
Well, Dave, I think that's normal, really, and the only time you see the rubber build up is on a caution flag. When the cars are running at speed like they are now, they don't build up. But when you slow down, the tires are really hot. They pick up the rubber, and if you change tires, then you don't have any more trouble. You might have a little bit on a restart, but otherwise, if you keep fresh tires on the car, you don't overheat them on the caution flags, then you should be in pretty good shape.
Look at this battle for sixth spot. That's Sterling Marlin, number 94, and Bill Elliott, number 9. And for the last 2 laps, it's been nose to nose around this 3/4 mile track. We're only 129 laps deep into the event, as Alan Kowicki gives you an idea of what it looks like live from Richmond.
TBS Sports live with you from Richmond International Raceway, bringing you the Richmond 400, and Dale Earnhardt cutting laps at 23.5 seconds on our Timex Speed Track computer. That compares with a quick lap thus far, 22.99 for Bill Elliott. That calculated to 117.44. The guy who turns the fastest lap all day is going to earn a Timex Speed Track computer for every member of his crew. And right now, Bill Elliott has that award, while for the moment, Dale Earnhardt leads the race. Let's get back to the action with Ken Squire.
There you see Dale Earnhardt on this beautiful, warm September day. The Earnhardt mowing machine out here trying to harvest its second straight win in as many weeks. He's just put a lap on last year's winner of the event, Davey Allison, going a lap down. Lake Speedo had trouble early in the going another lap down to Earnhardt, who seems to be right now, Phil, in a class by himself.
Well, he really is. I think time will tell. It looked like Bill Elliott was holding up that whole pack of cars we were looking at. Now Ricky Rudd is in second. Jeff O'Donnell's in third. We'll see if they can gain on Earnhardt, because it'll be interesting, because Bill Elliott's faded since the third place man got by him.
What do you think, John? Think this Earnhardt campaign's going to continue like this?
Well, every time I watch one of these races and someone dominates early, something always seems to happen with cautions or problems, and I'm sure not giving the race to Earnhardt yet, because there's 7 or 8 cars running really well, and we just saw a good love tap from Harry Gant. He's been following Jimmy Spencer, and he gave Mr. Excitement a shot.
Yeah, he turned him sideways.
That's the crafty old veteran hitting Mr. Excitement. So, gosh, who would have ever believed Harry Gant would do that to the Mr.
Nice
Excitement?
guy.
Huh?
Yeah. Meanwhile, there you see Sterling
Whoa.
Marlin. Whoa, we got one in the wall, and it's car number 88, Jimmy Spencer. Slams the wall in turn number 4. Now, he may have cut a tire. That just looked like it took off there.
Sure, he was running awfully well. Something must have happened to Jimmy there, because he was running really well, and I happened to be watching him, and nobody hit him from behind or anything.
So here we are under caution once again. That's the 9th caution of the day, John. And we're still 140 laps. Just 140 laps into this event, as the Baker car with Jimmy Spencer. Here in replay, Phil Parsons, tell us about it. That
looked like he either broke something or cut a tire, or he just got in the corner a little too hard, and the thing came around on him. And just about every time here, when you get turned around, you're going to back in the fence.
We talked about it as the ultimate American short track, and that's what it is. But you have almost super speedway speed when you slam that wall. That hurts.
You really do. I mean, the viewers saw Harry Gant's car yesterday, how flat his back end was. I've never seen a car back in the fence that was torn up as bad as Harry Gant's was. You know what's sad about that? He's having a great run, and Buddy Baker and Jimmy Spencer have lost the Crisco sponsorship for next year, and they're negotiating and trying hard to get something. They really want to come out here and have a great run on national TV, and they did do that. Something happened to the car, but it's a good-looking race team to me.
Wholesale pit stops at 141 laps after misfortune for Jimmy Spencer in car number 88. And we'll be back with more, the live coverage of the Richmond 400 with 141 laps complete in a moment. 143 laps have been complete, and at the end of 144, we will go back to green for the 9th time this afternoon. There have been 2 or 3 pit stops by Rick Wilson. We'll try to get that story for you. Richard Petty, his car had been rolled back into the garage area. That's coming out again. Number 71, Dave Marcus, led for a couple of laps. Then he went into the pits. And again, we have Earnhardt out in front. Here's Mike Joy.
Ricky Rudd was in, Ken. He and Dale Earnhardt pit side by side. They each got 4 tires and were leading the race. Rudd is one of the few drivers on this circuit that doesn't wear a cool suit, and it's a 90-degree day out here. The man handing him with the long wand, because he can't go over the pit wall, handing him the 2 cups of water. One of them dropped, and you wouldn't have believed the look on Ricky's face. So he's a little warm there.
Underway. Back under green, and everybody's a little warm here today. It's into the 90s. It's a wonderful day for a race, and what a wild one we've had thus far as Earnhardt scoots back in front.
Something really interesting. You see Davey Allison is a lap down. He won this event last year. That's how fast things can change in Winston Cup racing.
Bodine is in second. Rudd is in third. On this sort out, you see the yellow car of Michael Waltrip now being shown a lap down, as is Davey Allison side by side. The yellow car is Michael Waltrip. Just in front is Davey, and just behind him is Bill Elliott. Trying to sort them out in the backstretch, and that is a 1-lane second turn. Have to be so careful out there. If anybody just touches you, you're away, as Phil Parsons can testify.
Unfortunately. It'd be interesting now, Ken, to see if Jeff Bodine and Ricky Rudd can stay with Dale Earnhardt, because he had a good straightaway lead before, because Bill Elliott looked to be holding those cars up. So now we'll see how strong Jeff Bodine and Ricky Rudd are.
Chevy Buick, 1, 2, 3.
Richard Petty just pulled his car into the garage area. I think he's calling it a day.
Let's take a look at who has fallen out of the race as we talk about cars calling it a day. Rick Wilson is off the pace. Here's the attrition thus far. Dale Jarrett early, Phil Parsons, who's joined us here with the Crown car, Brett Bodine, Kyle Petty, McDuffie, Spencer, all out. And notice that most of them are hard losses into the wall. Look at Ricky Rudd in the green. Number 26 going down to the inside, working Bodine. Now getting back in line for turn number 1. Charlie Harville has a report on Jimmy Spencer.
We're looking at Jimmy's car right now, and he hit the wall with the left rear, as you can tell, and he is standing at one side waiting for the car to be repaired. And evidently, it's going to attempt to contact the race. I don't have him available at the moment. But the left front of his car is also damaged. Nevertheless, putting a left rear tire on the car right now, trying to get it back in the race.
Meanwhile, as we watch 5 and 26 going by in their battle for second, we've got a problem out here in turn 2. A bad one, socking the wall, spinning, going around. It looks like Morgan Shepherd in the 75 car has gone into the concrete. That's unbelievable.
It's another one for turn 2. I'll tell you, the lap before that, while we were getting a report from Charlie Harville, Harry Gant got real high in that corner and scrubbed the fence. So there may have been some moisture down, because Harry Gant did hit the wall but kept the car straight. Morgan Shepherd turned it around and backed in the fence.
Okay, Phil, we did the radial tires on a track that isn't banked as much, and they seem to work pretty good. Now, are we getting into a tire problem here? It seems like time and time again we're seeing the same situation. They just skate, scoot, slap the wall.
It's really hard to say, Kim, because again, I didn't run long enough to even get the tires hot. I didn't run 2 or 3 or 4 laps, whatever it was. So it's really hard for me to tell, but looks like Dale Earnhardt's not having a whole lot of trouble with the radials.
No, he is not. He's hitched up so far strong.
Well, Neil Bonnet told us yesterday and today that that's the toughest spot for him on the racetrack, coming through there and heading to that wall. And he said, boy, just one little mistake and you've got it. Is that the way you found it, Phil?
Well, I think so. And I've also noticed since I've been up here, because I didn't get to see much of the race, that the groove has moved up generally for most of the cars. And there's a possibility that Morgan could have got his right sides out of the groove and into the slick stuff, and it might have turned him around. So it may have been a fact that he just got a little bit too high.
Let's take a look at it. Morgan Shepherd approaching turn 2. He's already out in turn 1. He's loose.
It looked like really turn 1 is where the problem started. It looked like Morgan may have been forced high, or may have just tried to run a little bit high and got turned around.
If there's a lot of rubber that's been building up out there and you run into that, you can say so long. It's been good to know you.
Just like ice, Ken, just like running on ice.
Earnhardt stays first, Bodine second, Rudd third. Not anybody really taking a shot at the pit road here among those leaders. Ernie Irvan came in. as did Jimmy Means. Bobby Hillen came in. Harry Gant, who was running slowly on the outside, he had tried to dive into the pits and almost ran over the Jimmy Means number 52 car.
And Harry Gant really dodged a bullet. He was lucky with Morgan Shepherd's misfortune because he was able to come in and not lose a lap, hopefully correct his problem and go back out there and run with him again.
Harry may have had a tire going down because as I mentioned, the lap before he got into the fence coming off turn 2 and then ran really slow for the next lap until Morgan had his problem. So you're right, Harry probably saved the lap by Morgan having trouble.
Morgan Shepherd on pit road, as is Rick Wilson at this moment. We're now 152 laps complete. Though he finally earned his first pole of the season here at Richmond, the current Winston Cup championship, Bill Elliott, hasn't had much luck this year. Things look a lot better for today's pole sitter, Bill Elliott, than they have for some time. He got off to a rocky start at Daytona, breaking a wrist in a pre-race crash, and backup driver Jody Ridley totaled Elliott's second car in the 500. It's taken half a season, but Bill is back up to speed, ranked as a contender. In June, he won at Michigan, same as last year, and seemed ready to make a run at the front runner. All those fans who fell in love with Bill in his $2.5 million season saw no reason the Elliott team couldn't pull off another fairy tale finish. But back at Michigan 3 weeks ago, that Cinderella clock struck midnight. Bill was out of the race early and had to take a hard look at the remainder of the 1989 Winston Cup season.
You know, right now, we just need to work as hard as we can, finish the race, try to win some races, see where we end up with the points.
And right now, he is running in the 4th position with Ricky Rudd in the green, number 26, directly in front of him. Jeff Bodine running second, Earnhardt up on the point. Lap car number 83 down flanking on the inside, the number 9 car. Getting set on a restart, pace car ready to come in. Live coverage on the Superstation from Richmond. There you see those front 4. Let's see if number 9, Bill Elliott, as the green is extended by Harold Kinder, can find a way around. He cannot, and number 11, Terry Labonte, is right there to challenge. Earnhardt with just a tremendous leap off those starts. He sure has the gear to pull himself off on a restart and off those corners here today. Clyde Bodine in second spot. Rudd running in third. Elliott in fourth. But here comes Rusty Wallace. That white car down on the inside is beginning to clamber up on the inside of number 9 Elliott. Here comes Rusty Wallace. The 27 car is there, trying to scoot through on the bottom.
Sterling Marlin just stopped in front of a bunch of cars. He's coming around going into pit road, but boy, there were a lot of cars back there. They're racing side by side all the way around the racetrack, and this is usually when we'll have a problem.
And Sterling Marlin has a problem. You can see he's ready to call it today. Meanwhile, here's that number 27 car. There's a lap car, Neil Bonnet, directly in front of Wallace. Bill Elliott going around the outside, and there's where the scramble is. Elliott goes back into fourth, excuse me, Phil, and it is Wallace back to fifth here now.
One of the reasons Dale Earnhardt gets such a good jump on the restart is he's the only person at the racetrack that knows when he's going to go. So he takes off, and then Jeff Bodine has to respond to that. So that's why part of the reason he gets such a good jump.
Well, that jump has him out in front by about 15 car lengths. 157 laps are now complete with 10 cautions so far. 29 cars are left out of the 36 that started as we watch Earnhardt in front, and the battle is further back. This car number 27. Here you see the back end dented in on Wallace's machine, that Pontiac, challenging the 4 to Bill Elliott on the inside. He finally gets a little air, gets a little running room.
Well, Rusty's been so dominant this year at racetracks, and he doesn't seem to be that dominant today. He can't just drive right by like he has in the past, so I think they're struggling a little bit with their tire combination.
I heard yesterday, Ken, that somebody told me that Rusty Wallace did not feel as comfortable on the radials as he does on the bias ply tire, so that may be part of the reason, although he looks pretty comfortable now trying to get by Bill Elliott.
There he is out of that tricky second turn, and he has to fall back in behind again. This is the battle for fourth. Back comes Wallace to the inside another time.
A lot of these top teams have tested the radials, haven't they, Phil?
I think so. I'm not sure how many have them tested up here. A lot of times this year, Goodyear would not have the tires done in time for us to test. So I'm not sure if they tested on the radials this time or not.
Well, Wallace is around Elliott, as you see here. That'll move him up into the fourth position. Bill Elliott in the 9, falls to fifth. As Rusty Wallace seeks another victory in this 1989 campaign. He's had 4 poles and 5 victories thus far this year. Last year, Wallace lost the championship because of a crash in the first lap right here. You bitter about that, Rusty?
Last year, yeah, I lost the championship, but then again, I was bitter at that time. I was real bitter. The adrenaline was high. We were all pumped up. It was at the very end of the year. We were going towards a run at the end, and all of a sudden, bam, I lose 100 points in one race because of a wreck. So, but then I had to cool down, and after the year was over, I got thinking about it. I said, hey, that probably wasn't too cool to say. It was a racing accident. How bizarre, I don't know, but I could have lost the championship with a broken transmission at Pocono like I had, a freeze plug that popped out at Darlington at the beginning of the year. There's a couple different things that happened, but yeah, the Richmond race was one of them, and that's behind us, and it's all over.
All you fans are wondering, what's going to happen to Rusty Wallace? Who really knows? There's a court case, all those kind of things. Johnny Rumor Mill has found out, and I think this is probably what's going to happen, that Rusty Wallace will be sponsored with, he will stay with Raymond Beadle, be sponsored by Miller for 1 year. At that date, he will leave and form his own team, and Miller will go with him, and that Miller is his sponsorship, and he's bringing that to the party, but he will stay with Raymond for 1 more year.
Johnny, where do you come up with these rumors?
I don't know, but let's read the paper and see if that doesn't happen. It makes me smart if it's right. If it's wrong, nobody remembers.
The head of hopper of the pits. Dale Earnhardt staying out in front and has a pretty good advantage over the second place man Bodine. Here you see that leader, Earnhardt, with now 165 laps in the book, and that's a big story if you're right, John. And my sense is that you may be about right on the nickel on that one. There's a lot of Miller people here this weekend at the track, and no one is saying anything about that. I tried to broach the subject to them. No comment at all.
Well, what I love is there's another deal hanging on it. Pennzoil wants him also. If he stays with the Miller deal, then Pennzoil's going to go with the Bobby Allison deal with his new team with Mike Alexander. So you heard it here first, folks, at Johnny's Rumor paper.
Sounds like a soap opera to me.
I know this.
Here you
stuff.
see the 27, and that is in 4th place. The man we're talking about, Rusty Wallace, who's been in the courts, in the papers, and in battle with his car owner, Raymond Beadle, about what he was going to do. All kinds of numbers being mentioned in that lawsuit, but it looks like they may be together. Sort of an odd couple for another year. Earnhardt continues to lead over Bodine. All Earnhardt's race as we get toward the halfway mark. 168 are now complete at Richmond.
We're at Richmond International Speedway, and TBS Sports is live as we follow Alan Kulwicki's progress around the racetrack. Kulwicki good enough to get that car back out there so that we could get those onboard camera shots and get a look at the action here. He had an early crash that has dropped him down to 24th in the running order. Here in the STP Pit Communication Center, gotta be impressed with Dale Earnhardt. Here's a guy in the middle of a tight battle for the championship, just some 75 points ahead of the 4th place man, Rusty Wallace. What's Earnhardt do? He goes out and splits. He has totally dominated this race while Wallace has had to play catch up all day. The heat is on for the championship. Here's the guy on the move. These two guys also on the move. Jeff Bodine will drive Junior Johnson's car next year. Ricky Rudd will drive Jeff Bodine's car. A lot of shaking going on in terms of who's going to do what next year. Right now, the only shaking is being shaken up by Dale Earnhardt out front. Let's go back to the action with Ken Squire.
It's a 25 car length advantage, Dave, by which Dale Earnhardt commands this race. Bodine is 2nd, Ricky Rudd is 3rd, Rusty Wallace up to 4th. Remember, he was penalized early in the race, had to go dead last. He's fought his way back through. Bill Elliott's in 5th, Terry Labonte is in 6th, and Dick Trickle in car number 84. The Stavola car is now up into 7th place, having a good run. Here you see Rusty Wallace's car. And there's that 7th place car. You see the 11, that's Terry Labonte. And then number 84, Dick Trickle, who had such a great run back in March on this track after he charged from a 14th starting spot to lead in lap 172, and then had to pit for tires out here. Like it said, that he had a great run going, was able to show some strength, and was hoping to do as well today.
Ken, Morgan Shepherd just pulled his car in the garage area, and Michael Waltrip came down pit road, and they looked under the hood, lost a lap or so, and he came back out.
Battle for 5th here. This is number 9, Bill Elliott, and Terry Labonte in the car number 11. The Junior Johnson, number 11. Remember that Junior won 8 times on the old half-mile track here. And Terry Labonte would like to give him his first victory on the 3/4 mile track. Had a great start today and running very consistent car number 11 in the 6th spot, directly in front, Bill Elliott running 5th. There's that turn 2, which has been so nasty for so many people today.
Terry Labonte's another interesting situation. He's forming his own team. You know, he's left Junior Johnson, and they thought he had sponsorship finalized. Now there's a question. It's getting delayed, and he's waiting for a couple weeks. And there's a lot of teams out there hoping that that falls through. Maybe Richard Jackson trying to get him to replace Phil Parsons, who recently decided to go to the Kodak car.
Well, I have, Johnny. We made the announcement this week, as you well know. I'm really excited about it. Larry McClure and Tony Glover and Ron Pittman, all the guys are really excited about next year. But I hated to end today on such a sour note with an early crash. But we're going to do all we can do the rest of the year to win a race for Richard Jackson and Crown and Skull.
Here you see Terry Labonte maintaining 6th spot. Terry, what's your biggest concern about racing here at Richmond?
I think the first thing that you got to be aware of is turn 1 is a little deceiving. It appears that you can drive down in turn 1 a little bit farther than you really can. If you get in there too deep, you could get in trouble.
Here's that number 11 car. That is Terry Labonte. And number 2, Ernie Irvin, had a great run going today, is now into the pits. Number 11, Terry Labonte, maintaining 6. Here's Ernie Irvan behind the wall.
Looked like he blew an engine. He started smoking coming down the backstretch and then pulled in. It looked like he must have blew an engine.
Earnhardt stays in front. Bodine maintains 2nd. Rudd is in 3rd.
I tell you, it looks, Ken, like the interval has stabilized. Earnhardt spurted out to about, like you say, a 15-20 car length lead after 2 or 3 laps on the restart. And it looks like it's stabilized. So it looks like Jeff Bodine's just as fast as Earnhardt now.
You get an idea of that interval. There's the 5 car running in 2nd place. Jeff Bodine onto a new team next year.
You may have already noted, Ken, but Dale Earnhardt has won the only NASCAR race ever to be run on radials, so he knows a little bit about the radials.
Caution is out. We have a caution on the racetrack. Caution is out.
I'm sure that's for Ernie Irvan's blown motor, and the drivers were probably calling in the crew chief saying that there was fluid on the racetrack.
Sterling Marlin is out of it, and as we go to caution, let's go to Dave Despain to find out more about it.
I love talking to race drivers. I hate talking to them before the race is over. Sterling, I know this is the last place in the world you want to be. What happened? You were running great and all of a sudden just stopped. What went wrong?
Well, it looks like we broke a crankshaft. You know, the Snow Oldsmobile was really running great, and we got up 3rd early and got behind on the stop, and I just paced himself and waiting on the last 100 laps. I tell you, we got a real good race car. It's a brand new car, and them Goodyear radials, they work great. I love them, so we're going to slip and carry his car to Dover. Maybe we can win the thing. I tell you, it really worked good.
You like the tires. There's no problem
yeah, the
with
car,
that
you know, the car don't give up like it used to on a bicycle, and man, my car just drove perfect. I love it.
With all the talk about all the changing going on next year, there was talk that Sterling Marlin would go somewhere else. You've made your deal. You're going to stay put.
Yeah, I'm going to stay put. You know, we got together with Snowco, and it's really a great company. You know, I think the world all of them. They're great to work with, and I'm going to be back with them next year, and when we come back hard at them next year and try to win some racing, try to win some this year.
Next time I talk to you, I want it to be in victory circle.
Okay, I hope so.
Sterling Marlin.
Nice guy, Sterling Marlin. I hear it's not 1 year, but it's a year with another year option that they've done on their sponsorship, which is big-time money.
Plus, Paul Mecca, who represents Sunoco, he's so excited. He's walking because at time, you know, there's a lot of money being thrown around, a lot of good teams available, and they are so glad to have Sterling locked in.
Here's the number 27 and the number 5 car. Now remember that they just pitted, most of them, and here's the number 5 car of Bodine now being shown in 2nd place. Wallace pulling alongside. They're having a chat out there. What do you think they're chatting about, Phil?
What they're arguing about, Ken, is each one of them think they were off pit road first. They were racing down pit road. Jeff Bodine was a little farther back this way, so he had a lot more speed. And each one of them now thinks that they beat the other to the end of the pit road, so it's up to NASCAR to figure it out.
Waiting for the word from NASCAR as to where they're going to place them. There you see Dave Marcus in the 71 car, turning some more consistent laps, working it out here this afternoon.
Ken, I'd love to also, Dick Beatty, who runs NASCAR, his wife, May Beatty, is home in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's been ill and been a little bit depressed. So we just wanted to say hello to May, let her know we love her, and if she'll come back to racetrack, she won't be depressed anymore because we can make her laugh.
She doesn't watch these races until Monday morning with her husband. Mr. Beatty goes home and says that's their homework. They sit down for 3 hours on Monday morning and see how drivers like Phil Parsons did. They go through it with a notebook and check every one of these fellows out.
What makes you think a wife is ever listen to a husband. May watches what she wants to, and Dick does what May tells him to. So, May, get back to the racetrack where you belong, girl.
And looks like 1 to go, and we're going to be under green once again. And while we have a moment, a tip of the hat today to Darrell Derringer, one of the all-time greats in Winston Cup racing. Hope you're watching today and hope you're enjoying this race. Darrell, this is your kind of race and Derringer's kind of racetrack. This is where he used to turn them sideways and turn them loose.
He was one of my heroes, I'll tell you that, and I still love him. And boy, I hope he gets well.
And so do we all. Dave Marcus has the lead as we get set to go once again with Rusty Wallace in second, Jeff Bodine in third, Dale Earnhardt fourth, and Terry Labonte fifth. Very happy Paul Sawyer, the gentleman who has built this track, is standing behind me. Boy, what a crowd you have today, sir. It's marvelous. Congratulations.
Most rich people are happy. I like rich people, Mr. Sawyer, and you're one of my heroes, and I just appreciate
Wasn't
you letting
that way
me
a
be
few
here.
years ago, however. I can remember in the older times here, I'm a little lean, but it sure isn't anymore. Pace car is coming in, and after 8 lead changes among 6 drivers and 11 cautions so far with 188 laps complete, we're back to green and 21. Here's Bonnet trying to go up a lap, and there's 27 Wallace scooting right through for the lead. Marcus getting hung there on that car for just a second, and it is Wallace into first.
Now let's see if Bonnet can take us around the racetrack like he talked us around earlier.
He's the guy that gave us our course description, told us all about it, and he tries to hold that inside line. He wants to make number 27 work the outside. Davey Allison trying to take a lap back. Bodine is in second. Earnhardt is in third. Terry Labonte is fourth on this try once again under green. Wild day of action. 52,000 seats, every one of them full. Standing room only was canceled out about 10 o'clock this morning. It is a record crowd in Richmond, Virginia, as you watch on the Superstation, one of America's great NASCAR classics. 400 laps on a 3/4 mile track, and Wallace is pinned into some of the competition up in front. And here's number 11. That's Terry Labonte. He's running in fifth. Elliott's there with him. Ricky Rudd in that scramble a little further back. Up in front, Neil Bonnet trying to stay in that lead lap, but now 27 is down on the inside, going beneath it.
3 wide going into turn 1. Dick Trickle on the inside. Dave Marcus backs out and only makes it 2 wide.
Wild action all through this first and second turn area, and of course that turn 2 is the one they say is one groove. Look at Neil Bonnet not wanting to give up a shot at making up his lap. Stays right there. What a show he's putting on with Wallace. Wallace is the new leader. Neil Bonnet trying to get back up in that lead lap.
Both of those cars are really shaking. In the 21 car of Neil Bonnet and the 27 car of Rusty Wallace, what is really neat, Neil is not giving up, and we said earlier, Rusty's car is just not hooked up like it was earlier. Earnhardt and those people are coming to the front. There's been a caution every 20 or 30 laps, so Neil knows if he can get out front, he can get that lap back.
And he is running 17th over on the field, the leader 1 lap down. 17th overall in the race, trying to get his lap back. There he goes for it again. Back straight away. See some of the speed turned out, and Neil Bonnet is back around again and almost getting touched here by that number 27.
I tell you, Neil Bonnet's a lap down, but he sure looks like he has a strong race car.
Right now, he's made the lap up, but he's in the tail end of the lead lap. Very tail end. And he's about to get the tail snapped as number 27, Wallace, digs in at the bottom of the racetrack. Tries to put him a lap down again as they go to turn 3.
Phil, let me ask you a question. In a situation like this, why would Rusty push it so hard and take a chance of wrecking his car or having a trouble when he's comfortably in the lead? He's fighting tooth and nail with Neil Bonnet. Why would he do that?
I think he's having fun, Johnny. That's what it's all about, racing side by side. I think he's having a ball.
Always wondered why you guys did that. I knew you weren't real smart, but I tell you, they're racing hard, and Rusty's not giving him an inch, and he tries to look how close they are, swings back out, tries to make the move again. Neil is doing a heck of a job.
If you think they're close, take a look further back here as you get to second, third, and fourth. There's the 5 car in second, Ricky Rudd in the green number 26 in the third. Then comes Terry Labonte in Junior's car in fourth, and Dale Earnhardt in fifth, and they're all in a muddle. Great racing. And up in front, Neil Bonnet just doesn't give up as he contends to get his lap back from leader Rusty Wallace. More live from Richmond in a moment. At Richmond, Virginia, Derek Cope of Spanaway, Washington, in the Whitcomb car number 10 has gone back behind the wall. Dick Trickle has gone up a spot into 6. And as he does, Bill Elliott now finds himself contesting with car number 51, Butch Miller. That's a good struggle back there. They are having their own little war. And this is Butch Miller. The kids, remember, they were in the front row. It was Elliott on the pole when we started and Butch Miller outside of the front row. Here they are still contending.
One tough thing that Butch Miller in the number 51 car has going against him is a pit crew situation. These fellas are part-time help. They're not used to doing this on a daily basis. They're doing a great job with what they have to work with, but it's hard to beat these Winston Cup teams, and he's done an excellent job. Number 6 car slowed on the backstretch. It looked like he had bounced off the wall.
A little smoke coming out of Michael Waltrip as well in car number 30. Here you see that 9 in the 51 as Miller continues to contend out here today and stay in the top 10 in his run. Got a great battle going with Mike Eddy out in the Midwest. He comes in here trying desperately to show off well. Why wouldn't somebody pick up on him? This driver in the car number 51.
Oh, I think they will. I believe the best opportunity to get a ride in Winston Cup racing is to be here, get to know people and see them. Not many people know Butch Miller.
We'll get back to him in a moment. Look at car number 11 going down to the inside, trying to put a lap on Neil Bonnet and get a little closer to number 5, the second place man, Bodine. Ricky Rudd has tripped back a spot, as you see, to 11. And here comes Rudd right back on the inside as they work around Neil. Almost backs into him here out of turn number 2, that very tricky second turn. It's Bodine 5, second, then number 11, Labonte 3rd. Number 26, the green car, Rudd is 4th. And in 5th is Earnhardt. The leader now is Wallace. And Wallace is pulled away from the field. Similar to what we saw Earnhardt do a little earlier, Phil Parsons.
He sure has. Once he got by Neil Bonnet, he was able to put some distance between he and Jeff Bodine, because it took Jeff Bodine a long time to get by Neil Bonnet along with Terry Labonte. Neil's got a good car. He's just not quite as good as the leaders right now.
Car number 51. There's Butch Miller, who says this track is a lot like all the short tracks we run out in the Midwest, except this thing's a whole lot faster. Here's Charlie Harville. Charlie trying to get away.
It's been during the race, Kevin.
The car's running really good. Right now it's a little tight like it was when we started the race, but I think after the next round of pit stops, hopefully we can get it loosened up and fast again.
Kevin Hamlin, crew chief for Butch Miller, whose real name, the area guy Johnny Hayes will know, is Henry Miller, like the late Alderman of the province of Capricorn.
212 laps are complete.
Henry Miller, that doesn't sound like it. I like Butch.
You know what they used to call him?
Uh-uh.
You know all those scars that Butch Miller has? A scar up here in his forehead and one on his nose. When he was a kid, he used to fall down a lot, and they called him Bumpy back home.
Bumpy Miller.
Bumpy Miller. Here's 27, Smooth Mr. Wallace out of St. Louis, Missouri, continuing to lead here this afternoon. He's got himself almost a full second on second place man Bodine, and the challenge is for second place. The Chevrolet, the Hendrick stable car, is right there in second, but here comes Junior Johnson's number 11 with Texas Terry Labonte at the controls, closing down on Bodine. What a job this guy Labonte did in Talladega back at the end of July. He really was in the scramble and pulled it off. Now here he is trying to move up through. He's only 3rd on the field.
He's been consistently there all day. That car's run up front all day, and Phil May can tell us, I don't know if he's just sitting there riding or whatever, but he's running first class all day, and he's not forcing it for the lead.
I would say that Terry Labonte is a smart enough race car driver. That's exactly what he's doing. Now, Dale Earnhardt, he's mired back now in 5th position. I think he doesn't like to be there. I think his car may be a little off right now. Not the dominant car it was before this last caution flag. But Terry Labonte is smart enough to save his equipment. Not saying Dale Earnhardt's not, but when Dale Earnhardt can lead, he's going to lead. Terry Labonte was probably content to ride 3rd and look for the end of the race.
What has backed that number 3 car up? What slowed Earnhardt down?
I really don't know, Ken, unless he got beat out of the pits. So that crew doesn't get beat very often out of the pits. They may have made an adjustment to the car to try to make it a little better, and it may not have worked. That may be why he's 5th, because otherwise it would have been awful hard to beat him out of the pits.
Phil Parsons has joined us. He socked the wall early on, and the race was just underway, hard up in turn number 2. Get black and blue out of an incident like that, you feel it the day after?
Not really, and that wasn't too hard a lick, really. The car, the rear end housing took the whole lick. It really wasn't the wall that really did all the damage. It was the other car that hit the rear end housing and just bent the housing. So it really wasn't a hard lick, and I won't feel a thing tomorrow.
Well, there's the Earnhardt number 3, Phil. It's maintaining that 5th spot and not picking up much ground on those leaders. The leaders are Wallace first, Bodine second, Terry Labonte third, Ricky Rudd is in 4th with 219 laps complete at Richmond.
TDS Sports live at Richmond International Raceway. The Richmond 400 now past the 200 lap halfway mark. And let's take a look at our Goodyear mid-race report and bring you up to date on who's done what so far. Standings, first of all, showing us with 200 laps complete, an average speed of just 80 miles an hour. A lot of caution. Look at that, 11 cautions for 64 laps in the race. So of the 36 that started here, only 24 remain. A lot of attrition in this event. A lot of yellow flag activity. And we are going to have another one right now, it appears. We'll wrap up the rest of our mid-race recap in a moment. Let's find out who's brought out caution number 11.
Bonnet and Schrader at lap 226 have crashed in turn 2. Bonnet the lap down. Schrader had just gone by Bill Elliott, moved up into 7th position. And now that car, you can see damage to number 25 Chevrolet. Schrader trying to get back into the pit area. And again, it's that turn 2 area.
This is just an example of Neil got a little loose, got into Schrader and turned him around. That really wasn't the racetrack. Neil just got a little loose on the inside of Schrader and turned him around into the fence.
And that's right where Neil told us was the toughest place for him to get through the racetrack, and he'd break away easy.
Elliott sneaks through on the inside, almost got collected by those spinning cars, and he continues on his way. Again, the drivers are using this opportunity to get on pit road. That is the 12th caution of the day. You're going to need a computer to add up the laps under caution here this afternoon. 10 lead changes among 7 drivers thus far. 36 cars started, 24 remain on the field in our live coverage of the Richmond 400. Back to Dave Despain.
And my computer tells me, before we were so rudely interrupted, that we're now working the 65th lap of caution in this race. And let's pick up the rundown here. Wallace has emerged as the leader. Earnhardt, down in 5th spot, had dominated it early, while Rusty ran about 5th. Now they've swapped roles, sandwiched in between still Bodine, Labonte, and Rudd, and that has been fairly stable. Dick Trickle, Bill Elliott, who sat on the pole, Butch Miller, who was on the outside of row 1, Kenny Schrader before his crash a moment ago, and Harry Gant rounding out the top 10 again at mid-race. That was at the 200 lap mark if you've just joined us. It's been a magnificent day for racing here all afternoon long, and these 52,000 folks are just eating up the action here, as it has been a spectacular, a crash-marred, but certainly an exciting Richmond 400. We're enjoying bringing it to you, and I got a feeling that we're going to see every bit as much action in the second half of this race as we did in the first half. That's the Goodyear mid-race recap of what's happened up until now. As we prepare to go back to a green, let's go back topside to Ken Squire.
Now the field getting filtered through the end of pit road here. Michael Waltrip had been showing some smoke. He's back on the track. Directly below me is the Donlevy car number 90. And that car has Lenny Pond aboard today. And what a response he got when he came on the track this morning. Big favorite here in the Virginia area. Long-time campaigner.
It's good to see Lenny back. Now another thing for Johnny's gossip column. I happened to be at the International Hot Rod Association in Indianapolis. We had great racing up there.
What did you learn?
An inside story. Paul Candies of Candies and Hughes from St. Charles Parish, Louisiana, bought property in Mooresville, North Carolina, and may plan to start a Winston Cup race team next year. Look for that to happen.
Like Raymond Beadle and Kenny Bernstein. Well, we're back under green. Here we go with Wallace out in front. Terry Labonte in the number 11 is in 2nd place. There's a lap car, Baby Allison, in between them. Then in the 3rd spot is number 5, Bodine, hanging in, having a great afternoon. 4th is Ricky Rudd. 5th remains Earnhardt. Bill Elliott's back to 6th. Gant is up to 7th. Dick Trickle stays 8th. Darrell Waltrip 9th. And Butch Miller rounds out the top 10. We're at 229, 230 next time by.
Again, we had a driver change on the 16 car. I'm not sure who got in it. Maybe one of the pit reporters can check on that. But he came in with 1 lap to go, and they definitely changed drivers.
Driver change on Larry Pearson, and they're continuing to work on number 25. Let's go to Richard Childress.
I'm standing by with Richard Childress, the car owner for Dale Earnhardt. You fell off the pace there for a while, Richard. What happened?
Well, Dale's just really hot inside the car right now. You know, we was trying to get him some air ducts and stuff on the car, got beat out of the pits, and right now we're just trying to hold on. We can get him back in here, try to get him cooled down some.
I thought I saw you change the wedge a little bit on your last spot.
I didn't. Yeah, we're trying to tighten the car up for him a little bit too, but right now he's so hot in the car, you know, and we're just trying to fix that.
That's Richard Childress. Back to another part of the pits and Mike Joy.
Charlie Ernie Irvan has just gotten in relief of Larry Pearson. Since Pearson is a rookie contender, NASCAR initially said he could not have a relief driver. Then they relented after the race got past the halfway point. So Irvan is in that car, and Ken Schrader has just driven his battered Chevrolet into the garage area.
Thanks for that report, Mike. That was the update we were looking for on the 16 car. Here he is. Ernie Irvan is now taken over in the 16. Meanwhile, up in front, the complexion beginning to change a little at 233 laps. As Wallace continues to lead, and Labonte lies second with Rudd third and Bodine fourth. That change is Rudd up into third. And all of a sudden, Earnhardt is on the move in the number 3 car. Earnhardt is beginning to show some strength again as they come out of turn number 4. Here he is around Bodine and around the lap car of Allison. That's Earnhardt on the move. He's up to 4th.
I tell you, Ken, you know it's hot outside, hot in those cars when Dale Earnhardt gets hot.
Bodine falling to 5th. But he wishes he had that cool suit today. He's not very comfortable in those things, is he? He doesn't like them.
No, I tell you, there's really very few cool suits out there today. I didn't wear one. I know I talked to several other drivers that didn't wear one. I think, you know, we get our mindset, it's going to be hot, we're going to do it, it's going to be no problem, and we just don't put them on.
It's 94 degrees outside. What is it inside?
I would think probably 110 to 120 degrees.
Must be roasted like a chicken after 4 hours out there.
Well, I'm not sure. I only ran about 4 minutes, so I'm not really sure how they're feeling.
I never said they were smart, Ken.
Rusty Wallace out in front. Terry Labonte in second. Ricky Rudd in third. Phil Parsons has joined. Johnny Hayes up topside. I'm Ken Squire. At the STP Pit Center is Dave Despain and Charlie Harville, Mike Joy down along pit road to bring you the action. 2:36 down. Wallace in front, but about to be challenged. We'll be back with more in a moment.
In February of 1987, Ken Schrader became a die-hard Charger. With 1 lap to go in his 125-mile qualifying race for the Daytona 500, Schrader had his number 90 Ford in the lead. In his mirrors was the mighty number 9 of Bill Elliott, winner of the Busch Clash and holder of Daytona's lap record at better than 210 miles per hour. But Schrader wasn't about to knuckle under. In the final dash to the checkered flag, Elliott edged out front, but Schrader dove low to take his first NASCAR victory in a photo finish, stamping Ken Schrader as a die-hard Charger. Sears Die Hard. More power when you need it most.
Well, of course, Kenny Schrader just got punted into the wall when Neil Bonnet spun wide here, so he didn't get to charge as much as he'd like to have here today. Let's take a look at the winning car owners here in Richmond. Who are you going to bet on today? Well, Richard Petty's already put the 43 behind the wall. Petty Engineering has won 13 races on this racetrack. So you got to start looking at Terry Labonte's number 11. He's been top 5 all day, and his car owner, Junior Johnson, is next in the rankings. He's won 8 times on this racetrack. Bud Moore's machine is out for the day. Brett Bodine retired with a blown water pump. I got to think Terry Labonte and Junior Johnson's car might get a nod just on the basis of car owner success here in Richmond over the years. They're racing hard. Let's go back up topside to Ken Squire.
It's always great to see a name like Cotton Owens back up on any sheet. And of course, they had great success here years ago. Nygaard, name from the past too, not too far back. Here we have Wallace continuing to lead. He's diving down into turn number 1 and lap 2:48 of 400 to be run. And there's the interval back to second place. There you see the number 11. That's Terry Labonte in that second spot for Junior Johnson. He himself, 6-time winner here. Then back in third, there's the third place man, number 26. That's Ricky Rudd, and right with him in 4th spot, number 3, Dale Earnhardt. And in 5th is that number 5. That's Jeff Bodine. Bodine maintaining the 5th position on the field. About to lap car number 71, Dave Marcus. There's your front 5. Back in 6 is Bill Elliott in the number 9 car. He stays right up in there. And you can see there's Elliott. He has a car in between him and the leader. That's 21, Neil Bonnet, lapped. And then here's number 9, Bill Elliott in 6. And running 7th on the field is number 84. There you see Dick Trickle out of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, who maintains 7th. And Harry Gant is just behind him. Back there is the number 33, New driver in the 16, replacing Pearson. Lap car. Harry Gant, all in the lead lap, these cars. Harry Gant going underneath Irvan. And following Harry Gant's that number 4, there's Rick Wilson, who maintains the 9th position on the field. And 10th out here is still Butch Miller in the white and red number 51. There's your top 10. Gives you an idea where they're all positioned around the racetrack. Let's talk with Junior Johnson. The last American hero is standing by with one of our old-time heroes, Charlie Harville.
Thanks, Ken. Junior, as the race, are you progressing the way you wanted to, or things going your way?
Well, Charlie, our car has a mess in it right now. Down at the end of the straightaway, it's like a vapor lock. Other than that, we're in real good shape, but we've been that way all day, and we've been running right with the guys. I think we're okay.
Is that anything you can do anything about?
Not really, because you don't know what it is. And if you start working on it, you lose a lot of time, so we're better off to try to tough it out with what we got.
Junior Johnson, thanks very much.
Sir, they're going to go with what they've got, and they're still going strong. In second spot, problems and all for Terry Labonte in the Junior Johnson car. Here's number 26, Ricky Rudd, at number 5, Bodine. They're at it real strong down here in turn number 1. Earnhardt has pulled up and moved around. Car number 71, Dave Marcus, has pitted. As they now run, Wallace is in first. Terry Labonte is in second. Earnhardt has come up into third, and the scramble is right here. It's number 5, Bodine, number 26, Ricky Rudd for turn 1.
Ricky Rudd has seemed to fade a little bit, Ken. He was running ahead of Earnhardt until just a few moments ago, and Earnhardt got by, and now Bodine got by, and now Ricky Rudd is a half a straightaway behind Dale Earnhardt.
255 laps complete this time of 400. Bodine motoring 4th, Rudd 5th, Elliott 6th, Trickle 7th. Trickle, who had such a great run here that you saw on the Superstation back in March, coming back to a renovated track. They've added more grandstands. I guess he's more pumped up. I'll tell you, you can really hear the crowd respond when they're introduced today. And the one that they shouted the loudest for or again on the old applause meter was number 3, Earnhardt. You really heard both sides of the story.
Yeah, you get a mixed reaction with all these people, and what's great is there'll be husband and wife, and one will have an Earnhardt t-shirt, and the other one will have a Rusty Wallace t-shirt. That's the way America is, man. They can't agree on anything.
Here's Wallace maintaining his lead. Here's 84, Dick Trickle, running in 7th spot.
Now, Dick Trickle has been notified that he will not have that ride next year, so he is looking for a ride. And these people drive hard, and they're giving it everything they can because they are looking for a place to go drive.
Great opportunity for Dick Trickle here in 1989, getting a chance to go for rookie honors, and it came out of the misfortunes of so many others. First Allison at Pocono, then Mike Alexander in that Florida crash in Pensacola last year that set him back. Trickle became the man to step in and do some relief driving. He's been there all season. And as they battle, here's a guy that's well up in years but still fighting for rookie honors in the Winston Cup campaign. Now we showed 259 complete. We're back with Rusty Wallace up in that front running spot. He has had a checkered career as far as this race is concerned. Been here 5 times. His best finish is 11th back in 1984. That was back when he was a rookie in this event. He's crashed the last 2 times he's been in it, but today he's running well. Terry Labonte maintaining that 2nd spot. There's Bobby Hillen, better than a lap down now. Being shown in 21st overall was Hillen. Number 3, Earnhardt sorted himself out. He's making a charge back up on number 11 and 27 for those top 2 positions. Still got a ways to go with 261 complete here today. Guaranteed one more pit stop. Make it a little interesting. Sure, they're looking for another caution. Those guys out in front help those tires. How long will those tires hang out before you begin to lose some traction, Phil Parsons?
Again, I really don't know, again, because I didn't run long enough. But I had heard some stories that in testing that they would get to a point and then they would just fall off immediately. They wouldn't gradually fall off. They would get to a point and then they would fall off all at once. So I'm really not sure, and we probably haven't run long enough to find that point yet.
Darrell Waltrip is running in the 11th position. For more on that story, let's go to Mike Joy.
I'm standing in his pit, Ken, with Kenny Schrader, who's out of the race. First, Kenny, what happened to put you out?
We started around Neil, and Neil must have got loose or something. He knew I was there, and he signaled me to go to the outside. There ain't nobody out there we trust any more than Neil, so, you know, something must have happened to his car.
Right, but your day's not over yet.
We're just gonna, Daryl's power steering's out. We're just gonna hang around here for about 25, 30 laps if he needs any help.
That's Kenny Schrader.
Kenny Schrader, one of the great sprint car drivers in America. What do you think of those sprint car drivers?
Oh, they're awesome. I went to the World Outlaw Sprint Car Championship in Knoxville, Iowa, and everybody loves Winston Cup racing, and they treated us like kings up there. And there's so many. I met a kid named Andy Hillenberg from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. He plans to come down a year or so, get a sportsman car, and go Winston Cup racing. They all want to end up here. No matter where we go, they want to end up here.
I'll tell you one thing, those guys that hang it out on the edge on dirt, they know a lot about balance, and when they come in here like Schrader did, they're real good.
Well, they've heard and they've seen people like Schrader have so much success that they feel like they'd come in with an advantage to be able to drive a loose race car.
If you can drive loose, you're really set up to drive those sprinters, because that's all they do is just turn them sideways, run them around.
You sure Dale Earnhardt didn't drive a sprint car at some time in his life, or a former life or something?
He said he grew up on dirt early, so I think that might have helped him. So maybe that's a secret, to get a bunch of old dirt racers. They learn to do it, and then they'll put radials in, and you can't do it.
Alan Kowicki in car number 7 giving us these pictures as he goes around in the Xerox car. Remember, he's many laps down after he had an altercation early in this race, and he came in here with such high hopes. He's right behind the leader, Rusty Wallace, in 27. They dive down here into turn number 1. That's about 140 to ease off. They're averaging 118 miles per lap around this 3/4 mile track. Take that back. Late report says 114.6. Doing a little better than that a little earlier. They're really wearing out the equipment with 267 complete.
I tell you, Ken, you know, Kenny Schrader said that he might stand by to relieve for Darrell because his power steering went out. I'll guarantee you he's standing there with mixed emotions. Nobody wants to get the car with the power steering is not working.
He's strong enough to carry that, though, isn't he? I mean, that's one of the drivers that has really got, he looks physical. He looks like he can handle something like that for a while.
Oh, yeah, but it's not going to be a piece of cake. I mean, it's just like a street car when your power steering goes out, how hard it is to steer.
Oh.
And these guys are trying to run 130 or 40 miles an hour with a car steering that hard.
Good job for John Hayes.
That's why I've decided not to be a race car driver.
Crash in turn 4. It looks like Butch Miller has crashed, and he's hit in the rear end, and the car blazes into fire as Rick Wilson slams into the back of Butch Miller, who had spun. A terrible crash. That's the worst crash of the day. The front end of Rick Wilson's car destroyed. The car blew into fire. The car number 51, here's Butch Miller climbing out of his car. He had been running in 10th when this incident took place.
Rick is
Wilson
coming
was in
out
9th.
of the car. Rick Wilson, I can see his head pop out of the car. He's coming out. He's okay. He's limping, but he is out of the car. Boy, was that ugly.
That was bad. 51 spun in turn 4. Look again. Car has spun, looped up to the wall, and come down.
Rick just didn't know he was there. Darrell pulled right down, and I don't think Rick ever knew he was there.
No, I don't think so. Darrell pulled down at the last second because he saw Butch. I'm sure Rick didn't see him, and then when Darrell pulled out of the way, boom, Butch was right there, and Rick had nowhere to go. Just a tremendous crash. Fortunately, both drivers got out. We're awfully happy to see that. See, the fire really is away from the driver's compartment on Butch's car. It's behind him, and on Rick, it was just a little residual fuel that ignited on his car.
Carrying Rick Wilson over the wall, being given some assistance after he took a terrible hit. Here it is again. See it lift the back end of the 51 car up in the air. Butch Miller's hopes ending here. This little team with one car, and it's all over for him today. And for Rick Wilson, a very lucky racer.
And that was ugly.
And if you don't believe in seat belts, think about it again. 271 laps are complete. There are the remains of car number 51, Butch Miller. It's over for him, and Rick Wilson will be back in a moment. 13th caution of the day. major catastrophe in turn number 4 of the Richmond International Raceway. We're with you live. Let's take a look now again in replay at what happened as they came out of turn number 4. You see Rick Wilson over here. They have him on the ground behind the wall now. 274 laps are complete. See if we can, there's the impact, the spin, and then both drivers were blessed. They both were able to walk away from it. Here is Mike Joy with Butch Miller.
Butch has got his hand here in a bucket of ice. Butch, first off, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
What happened up there?
Well, I've been fighting a brake problem since lap about 5 or 6, and I'd been pumping the brakes, you know, and if I pumped the brakes the full length of the straightaway, I would have brakes by the time I got to the corner. Well, surprise, surprise, when I got into 3, I had none.
Well, you had a super run here today. You'll be congratulated on a great race. Sorry it had to end up this way.
Thank you very much.
I know you'll be back.
Oh, we'll be back.
Okay, good. That's Butch Miller.
Butch Miller, the car number 51, the whole back end gone off that car. Rick Wilson down on the ground. We saw him walk away from the car and then be assisted by 2 members of the Morgan McClure team back over the wall. Here's the remains of the Butch Miller car being picked up by the safety crew here at the Richmond International Raceway. We're showing 275 laps complete, and Johnny Hayes was saying that caution. You had a crash just exactly like that up at Caraway, Phil.
I sure did in Ashburn, North Carolina, back in 1982.
Here we see administering to Rick Wilson here for just a moment. We'll get back to you in a second. Let's hope that he's okay. The good news is we did see him walk out of that thing. Taking some extra time with him, some precautionary measures with Rick Wilson. Charlie Harville, what's happening down there? Giving him oxygen. Can you give us an update?
I can. They are giving him oxygen, and I have not been able to talk to the doctor or to the emergency team, but they are working on him right now. They've removed his shoes, and he's leaning against the pit wall and is being given oxygen and probably suffering from the heat more than anything else that happened to him. And he's very alert, is talking to the doctor right now, is quite alert, taking deep gulps of the oxygen, and evidently is not in any pain and evidently is all right.
Johnny Hayes?
Well, a lot of time he breathed a lot of smoke and the fire was in there too, and they also a lot of time will give you oxygen just as a precaution to make sure you got good fresh air in your lungs.
There you see the remains of his car going from 100 miles an hour to 0 in about 10-15 feet as he slammed into the back of car number 51 with no place to go. Waltrip was on the inside. Waltrip had taken the evasive move. He got through. Rick Wilson did not. You had the similar crash at Caraway.
I sure did. I was following Butch Lindley, who's now in a rest home in South Carolina due to a racing accident. And a car had stalled against the backstretch wall. At the last second, Butch dodged to the inside. I didn't have time to react, never had time to hit the brake and hit a car very much like it, although it wasn't a full head-on shot because I did manage to turn the steering wheel, and I got just half the car. Instead of Rick getting the whole front end, I got half of my car.
Did you see it at all? I mean, did you have any moment to react that you were going to be in trouble?
Maybe a tenth of a second. Just enough to turn the steering wheel so I didn't hit him flush. I just hit him with the right side of the car.
I think that's what we found with Wilson here, that he did try to cut the wheel, but it was altogether too late. We need to get to a Goodyear Racing update this afternoon. Bob Richards is standing by with more news on other events around America as they remove car number 51 after this most serious crash of the day. Turn 4, Richmond International Raceway has taken the Butch Miller car and the Rick Wilson car out of contention. Now for a Goodyear Racing update, let's go to Bob Richards.
Thanks, Ken. There is plenty of other racing action going on this weekend. Just moments ago, a dramatic finish to the Texaco Haviland 200 at Elkhart Lake in Road America in Wisconsin. Danny Sullivan, the pole sitter in the event, went totally off the track, passed on the dirt Michael Andretti, who ran out of gas on the last lap to win the event. Teo Fabi, as you see in a Porsche, was second with Rick Mears third. Now, earlier today, Alain Prost popped the Victory Circle champagne at the Italian Grand Prix. It was his 39th career win. Gerhard Berger was 7 seconds back in second with Terry Boots in third. With the win, Prost extends his points lead over teammate Ayrton Senna, who was forced out of today's race with engine problems. Well, the IMSA GTP stars are strutting their stuff in Sonoma, California this weekend. Jan Lammers in the Jaguar, the top qualifier. He earned the top spot yesterday with a lap that averaged better than 108 miles an hour. Finally, Doug Wolfgang won the featured event at Selinsgrove Speedway in Pennsylvania last night. The first place finish was worth $51,500. That's one of the biggest payoffs in U.S. sprint car history. Well, that's it for this Goodyear update. Once again, back upstairs to Ken and Johnny.
Thanks, Bob Richards. The report being very verbal is Rick Wilson. He says, you be sure the folks at home know I'm all right, not to worry.
And I do want to tell Teresa, his wife, that Rick was going to fly home with us tonight, but we'll take care of him. We'll watch him closely, and we'll be with him. Hopefully, we'll just meet you at the airport because I think he's just shook up a little bit. So don't you worry, Teresa. We'll take care of him.
He's being taken back to the infield hospital here at the Richmond International Raceway after this hard crash. Again, he did walk away. They have been giving him some oxygen, and he said to Charlie Harville, he said, "You make sure they know that I'm all right." But he took an awful lick. The cars are now at lap 278. The front of the field looks like this. Rusty Wallace continues to lead. Terry Labonte is in second. Dale Earnhardt third. Jeff Bodine is in fourth. Bill Elliott is fifth. Harry Gant is sixth. Dick Trickle is in seventh. Hut Strickland is in eighth. Ricky Rudd is ninth. Darrell Waltrip comes to 10th. A lap down in 11th is Neil Bonnet. 2 laps down in 12th is Lake Speed. And 13th, 3 laps down, is Davey Allison, followed by the Larry Pearson Urban car. And then Jimmy Means is 16th. Next on the Superstation, the All-Pro Auto Parts 500. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the track in America. 1.5 miles, unbelievable facility, Phil Parsons.
It really is. They could play a Super Bowl there, really. They have, I don't know, 60-some sky boxes for VIPs, and just a tremendous facility. Humpy Wheeler and Bruton Smith and all their staff just do a terrific job promoting the races and making it a nice place to visit.
Good place to race?
Well, it really is, and they've worked at that. You know, we had an asphalt surface that wasn't very adhesive, so they come up with a new compound that they use at Dover, rubberized asphalt, to give the cars better adhesion, and it looks like we're probably going to run radials at Charlotte also.
Ought to be a wild show, and you'll see it here on the Superstation Sunday, October 8th. Please be with us at the STP Pit Center. Here's Dave Despain.
All right, Ken, we want to update our True Value Hard Charger points here at this juncture in the Richmond 400. Dale Earnhardt still sits atop the stack. Keep in mind that in the overall standings, the race for $50,000 in year-end True Value money, Rusty Wallace is the runaway leader, but Wallace has had to come from the back, and while he has been leading of late, it is Earnhardt who is piling up points at the rate of 5 per lap early in the race, and as a result, he is sitting atop the chase for the $1,500 award that will be given away today. Bill Elliott has been very consistent all day, as has Labonte, Bodine, and Rudd, so they're second through fourth in the standings. But Earnhardt, piling up points every lap, has been the hard charger here at Richmond. Question now is whether he can charge back up to the front, get himself cooled off. We understand the problem for the guy they called Ironhead, who is certainly one of the iron men of this sport, simply overheating in the cockpit today, and that's unusual for a tough guy like Earnhardt. So he's not out of it, but he sits at the top of these standings for the moment. Let's get back to green flag action here.
You see Earnhardt, you see the left door. The right door, when you look at it, has a big dimple in it now in car number 3 as Earnhardt settles in third spot. Lap cars pulling up, and Darrell Waltrip is 1 lap down. The 17 car you saw going by is in 10th spot, a lap down. 9 cars in the lead lap. Wallace leading, Labonte second, Earnhardt third as we go back to green. When they come around, they'll complete 282. 4th is Bodine, 5th is Elliott, 6th Gant, 7th Trickle, 8th, the rookie Hut Strickland. That's the second rookie. Trickle also treated as a rookie. Then 9th is Ricky Rudd. Ready for the start. Here you see Wallace from the point. Terry Labonte, who's driven a consistent, smart race all day, stays right there with him. Down to the line.
I wonder if Darrell Waltrip spent some extra time fixing his power steering problem, because he wasn't a lap down, I didn't think, but now he is. So he may have took some extra time to fix that power steering trouble to try to go on and win the race.
If we can get a report from Charlie Harville or Mike Joy as to the condition of the power steering of Waltrip's car, that might prove interesting. Taking some extra time to try to get that car sorted out. Look at Wallace bust away into the lead. Terry Labonte lies
Whoa,
second.
right in front of us. Davey Allison spins it big right in front of us.
Down across the line. He's in the grass, keeps going, no caution. No yellow.
He didn't touch anything. He just came off of that turn sideways and went around, so no one hit him. He just lost it.
No caution flag. We're still racing.
And out of the turn, here is 27, your leader. Right behind him, there's number 11, Terry Labonte, trying to close times. Again, Wallace got a great start, got a terrific jump. Out in the back is car number 26, Ricky Rudd. Here's the replay of what happened to Davey Allison.
Looks like he just lost it. Looks like the car just got a little bit loose. He may have gotten some of the speedy dry left from the accident we had moments ago, and he just looks like he just got around on him.
I think that's exactly what happened, because there was some stuff. They tried to blow it off, but you can still sit on the racetrack.
He's back underway and okay. Davey Allison, who's been running in 13th, 3 laps down. Leader continues to be number 27. Mike Joy can give us an update as we watch this battle for the lead.
Ken, they thought they might pit Davey Allison after that spin, but he says the car's okay. Darrell Waltrip reports his power steering pump is working once again. And on the last lap of that caution, Ricky Rudd made a move that may be pivotal. He made a pit stop for gas only. He was the next to last car on the lead lap, so lost very little track position. But with that gas stop on lap 180 or 281, he may be able to stretch and go the distance if we stay caution-free. That chance.
Here's Ricky Rudd, currently running 8th, and he is closing on Trickle. He is moving in now onto, there you see number 84 and the number 33, Harry Gant. Gant is your 6th place runner. Trickle is in 7th. And in 8th is Ricky Rudd in that combination of 3 cars. It's a record crowd watching this event today.
Terry Labonte has run down Rusty Wallace. And we may see us a good fight for the lead. And Dale Earnhardt's just within striking distance too.
Here's the 27 out in front, closing in as 11. And we've got trouble up in turn number 2. It's Urban in the 16 car that had been running in 14th position. And they've taken the back end off that one. There it is.
It's become a demolition derby out here today.
Caution 14. Do you believe it? That's getting up towards a record.
Like you said, they go around, you're going to tear the back end off your race car. There's just nothing you can do. There it comes back on replay. Boy, he hit it hard. Just got out of the groove, and boom, it just shoots up there.
Got a Wreckham record here today. 14 cautions. That spin and crash on car number 16 eliminates another one. Well, Wallace holds on up in front.
The fans have not been able to sit down the entire race. You notice they're all standing. They've had to stand the whole day.
I think they're ducking a lot over there in turn 2. Every time they come around, there's somebody else backing into that wall. They repainted the walls last night after Bobby Hamilton won the Grand National race, but it looks like about a year's abuse as you look around here now. They're all carved up. Mike Joy.
Well, Ernie Irvan standing here in the pits. Larry Pearson had gotten back into that car, so sorry, Ernie, if we blamed you for that one, but it just got away from Pearson. Dick Trickle came in here for a quick stop, locked up the left front brake, took a cold, wet rag out there as it's getting very warm inside those race cars.
Okay, good to know that Ernie Irvan is there, and Larry Pearson, his regular driver in the mount, that took the shot, and he's okay too. Ernie Irvan, number 2. Remember, he had problems a little earlier, standing by in relief. Larry Pearson in the 16 car, that's bent up over there. Safety crews there with him. Looks like he's out of the car and walking, going to walk over to the ambulance and be brought back for a checkout at the infield hospital. They're talking about a blown engine on car number 16. It's the word we're getting, that maybe the engine let go and swapped him around.
I tell you, Ken, if this goes on, people like Alan Kowicki and Mark Martin may really dodge a bullet in that points battle, because a lot of good cars have fallen out, and they may get a respectable finish out of this thing before it's over.
Yeah, where is Kowicki? About 20th now with all these cars falling out? Remember, he's down about 24 laps. Oh, that's sadness for the Pearson crowd. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace stays in front. We're at lap 290. Last year, Rusty Wallace made a late season charge that nearly carried him to the Winston Cup Championship. He's trying to do that again, but he has a lot on his mind. The Rusty Wallace story is a common one in big-time sports. It's off the playing field and into the courts, asking to break a contract which has a year remaining. Rusty and owner Raymond Beadle have been battling each other, and key members of the crew have been forced to choose whether to stay with the owner or go with Rusty. It's not the sort of environment that it creates esprit de corps, and yet the Kodiak crew have generated much of the same second-half excitement that carried them to within a hair's breadth of last year's championship. They've won 3 of the last 4 races and have closed to within 73 points of leader Dale Earnhardt going into this Richmond 400. while Wallace's hell for leather style on and off the track have led to a love-hate relationship with the fans. You can't help but admire Rusty Wallace and his team for their ability on Sunday afternoon.
If everything stays together, baby, we're going to rock and roll, and that's what we're doing now. We're just standing on it going, and championship is in our eyes. The only way they're going to beat me is if I break down, and we don't plan on that.
And according to the Hayes Inside Report, it'll be Raymond Beadle and Rusty Wallace together again for another year. And the colors will be that of Miller Brewing on that car, and that will be a major change. But Rusty will stay with the same organization, including Barry Dodson, who I think is one of the best there is when it comes to putting a wrench on a race car.
Well, he's Phil and ours neighbor. He used to live right between us, so we know the inside of all this stuff. We just ask Barry what's going on. He lies to us.
Well, there you see the back end of Pearson's car. He really took a terrible shot as you see that car being pulled away, worse than originally looked. Here's Charlie Harville. He has an update from the hospital area.
I have Dr. William Hensroth of St. Mary's Hospital, who's in charge of the hospital area here in the infield. What is Rick Wilson's condition, doctor?
It's good. His vital signs are all stable. He's alert and talking to us. There was no loss of consciousness. We examined his blood pressure was good. He was a little overheated. We gave him some oxygen. His chief complaint was his feet. And so we're going to send him to the hospital, x-rays of his feet. There was no obvious fracture. No deformity and no significant swelling, just pain in his feet. We're going to get those x-rays, make sure he's all right.
Thank you very much. Okay. Dr. William Hensroth from St. Mary's Hospital.
Story on Rick Wilson, the driver of number 4, that rear-ended car number 51, Butch Miller, after Miller had spun on a 360 in turn 4, come to a halt. Rick Wilson had no place to go, but dead on into the back. A violent crash, a tremendous eruption of flame. Both drivers able to clamber out of their cars. Car number 26, Ricky Rudd, right now is pitting as the rest of the field motors by. Here's Dave Despain.
Ken, I got curious this morning and thought, how many moving parts are there in a race car? We made a tour down through the garage area and just asked some crewmen at random. We got some pretty interesting answers. Barry Dodson, Rusty Wallace's crew chief leading the race, said, I don't have a clue. I don't have any idea how many. Ernie Irvin's guy said, well, a lot. We thought that wasn't very specific, so we went to Kirk Shelmerdine, who said there are 1,476, depending on whether you count Dale Earnhardt as a moving part of the car. We think they should. A little bigger number, now that remember, that was 1,476. Meanwhile, Rick Wilson's team said 21,097, counting Rick, and of course most of those parts are bent on that car after this afternoon's race. Richard Petty's a little higher estimate. He said probably 1 billion. And the best answer came from a member of Dick Trickle's team who said entirely too many if you have to come here at 6:30 in the morning and get all the wrenches out and tighten them all up. The point is they don't know.
Great report, David. We're back under green. Back they go to turn number 1. Wallace steaming out in front. Terry Labonte maintaining second.
Dale Earnhardt side by side with Terry Labonte for second. 3 in the 11.
Jimmy Means running very slowly the main straightaway. Did not come up to speed as the field broke away. Here comes Earnhardt on the inside of Terry Labonte, trapped behind number 21. Earnhardt trying to bust through side by side. It's Earnhardt, bottom of the racetrack for second place in the Chevrolet. He's there. Earnhardt back to second. Labonte falling to third. Bodine is fourth. Elliott's fifth. Going in sixth spot is Harry Gatton. Seventh is Ricky Rudd. Nose to tail, number 3 Chevrolet. Now going into second spot, Dale Earnhardt, fighting for the national championship.
Terry Labonte's looking inside.
Boy, he took a shot down the inside. He wanted to go through, realized that Jimmy Means was there running slowly, and eased off the trigger. Back straightaway, Labonte closes once again on Earnhardt, the man in black. That number 3 can get real wide about now.
He's got one of the widest cars on the racetrack, and he's one of the most difficult men to pass that's ever been in a race car.
Bodine maintaining that 4th spot. Going 5th, Elliott, 6th, Gant, 7th, Ricky Rudd, 8th is Trickle, 9th is Hut Strickland, 1 lap down.
Here we go. Terry Labonte gets inside. Dale Earnhardt coming off turn 2. See if he can beat him down to turn 3. The 11 pulls ahead. He's got him.
Pontiac in first, Ford back to second, Chevrolet falls to third, Chevrolet in fourth, Ford in fifth.
Don't you know the Pontiac people love this, beating up on their competitors, and everybody thought it might be a different make, but Rusty Wallace has made it a great year for Pontiac.
Yeah, they weren't even supposed to be in it. They got down to Talladega. Somebody forgot to tell Morgan Shepherd the Pontiacs weren't supposed to be that strong.
Yeah, everybody kept saying the Pontiacs just won't work at different places except for Morgan and Rusty.
Well, here's Rusty Wallace continuing to lead. 4-car advantage over the second-place man, number 11, Terry Labonte. Labonte closing in turn 2. That very difficult, slippery skating rink that is turn 2. And he moves ever closer to the leader. 300 laps complete. 100 to go. How about the fuel situation from here, Phil?
I would think that the fact that the leaders did not pit on the last caution flag, I think that means that they feel they can go all the way. Ricky Rudd pitted the time before because they may have been marginal, but I would think that everybody feels that they can go all the way.
So it ought to be really a skate show at the end of this one. If it stayed green, wouldn't be anything left on those carcasses.
It sure wouldn't be, but I'll tell you that they've really held up well, though.
Look at car number 11 close up. Terry Labonte, number 11, is there. 1 car length away. First, he was run down by Earnhardt. Now, typical of a fall afternoon, we're ready for a forward pass by number 11 to the inside. Moves Terry Labonte, pulling along beside Rusty Wallace. It's a Ford on the inside, Pontiac on the outside. Wallace attempted to close the door, realized the man was up to his fender, relented. Now they're out of 2, tight running. Terry Labonte stays bottom of the racetrack. What a great show. It's live here on the Superstation this afternoon. Sideways out of number 4 comes Terry Labonte. He gathers it back up as they steam into 1. And now into turn 2, which is 1 groove wide. 2 cars side by side. Wallace with the advantage by just about a fender.
Now you're telling me that's fun, Phil? This is a fun part of racing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Most fun you can have right here. This is what it's all about.
What scares me to death, and have Earnhardt stuck right there behind you, Darth Vader just waiting to lunge on the victims. I mean,
do you look over at each other in a situation like this, huh?
If you have a long enough straightaway, sometimes you do, just to kind of see what their attitude looks. See what their attitude looks like. See if you want to lean a little bit the next corner.
So, Earnhardt drove right by on the outside, and the 11 car pushed right back up. He may have a little problem with the tire or something because he dropped back pretty quick there.
To 4th, Bodine 3rd.
Labonte dropping off in a hurry. Remember earlier, Junior Johnson talked about a top-end misfire in that car, but he wasn't misfired on our Timex speed track as he ran down Rusty Wallace. He cut a 23:12 lap, comparing to a pole time of 22:2 for Bill Elliott. That's as quick as they've run for about 200 miles here. Suddenly, he has fallen off the pace. So just as we put the Timex speed track on him, Bill Elliott put him in his sights, and Labonte has an obvious problem with the Junior Johnson Thunderbird.
Indeed he does. The 15-time winner is now falling back again. This will put him back into the fifth position. And he's falling back some more. Here's Ricky Rudd pulling up in there.
Maybe we can get someone to find out in the pits if he's lost a cylinder, if he has a tire going down. Something is obviously wrong with his car.
Sure looks like there's a cylinder off on number 11. The 26 scoots around, saying no brakes. A lot of them have no brakes. I wonder if that's all the story there. Being very tender with car number 11 is Terry Labonte. Falling back through.
Well, Butch Miller said his car didn't have brakes, and that's what happened to him.
You've heard the story over and over again here at Richmond. I can remember when Richard Petty told us in the old days they'd run 150 laps here. No brakes, period, no brakes. Just none. That was back before the days of disc.
Boy, he was running so well. That's really tough.
If he can just hang on, though, and catch another caution flag, maybe they can work on the brakes. He's probably boiled the brake fluid is what's happened. If he can just stay in the lead lap till they get a caution flag, they may come and cool him off, put some more fluid in, and he'll be right back going.
Let's go to his pits, down to the number 11 pit area.
Junior Johnson. Junior, what's happened to the car?
Well, when he was going up there going after Rusty, for some reason the brakes went away. He either busted a wheel cylinder or something other. And one of the brake calipers. That's all it could be because he don't have no pedal at all.
Is there anything you can do about that?
Well, there's no way we can fix it. We'll just have to ride it out.
Junior Johnson, tough day for the number 11 Budweiser car.
There's a serious contender that will not be around at the finish of this one as Wallace sets the pace with his old buddy Dale Earnhardt right there in second.
That's wild that those three guys are right there together. Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine, those three running right together. This could be an exciting shootout.
But more than that, don't forget who's fourth. Bill Elliott in number 9. And remember, he has a $152,000 bonus on this race. He won the pole in the skins game from Unocal. And if he can just pick up 3 spots, it sure can happen. He's going to pull it off today for big money here at Richmond International Raceway. There he is, maintaining fourth, trying to shoot down Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, and leader Rusty Wallace. More in a moment. We're back with you live at Richmond International Raceway, working lap 320 with Rusty Wallace in front, Bodine in second, Earnhardt falling back. I'd like to have you see what happened in lap 316. This is lap 316. This is the battle that was going on for second spot. This is Bodine on the inside in turn 3. Guess who's on the outside? Just one solid wrap.
Ever so gently, just ever so gently.
Now since then, it looked like a tire has flat spotted and Earnhardt has lifted a little out there and come out of it where he may be waiting.
Well, I tell you, if I was Jeff Bodine, I'd sure hope that something happened. He could never get near me, because I have a feeling that that man will stick you back. Darth Vader loves to hit people.
Number 27, Wallace leading, Bodine in second.
You know, this is a payback game here, guys, and when you start keeping track of Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt and figure out who owes who a hit, it's kind of hard to keep up with. The last one I remember was a couple of weeks ago at Bristol when this guy was the hit E, because Earnhardt came by and kind of caught the left quarter panel and sent him right off into the fence. Bodine was the loser in that one. I'm not even going to try to keep score between these two guys, but that may have been the payback that we just saw. They may be even now.
I'm not so sure, and what happens is usually the payback comes the following week. You never want to do it to the other guy in the same race, right, Phil? That's the secret, because then NASCAR is watching so carefully. You wait till the next race or the race after, then you pay back.
That's right. You don't say anything all week. You just wait till the race starts and then you do it.
Let's find out what's happening with Dale Earnhardt as you see him running back here in third spot, about to be challenged by Ricky Rudd.
In his pits with car owner Richard Childress. Richard, what has happened?
Well, he ain't said nothing. All he's been telling us is he's just real hot. You know, I don't know if he's getting fatigue or the heat. It's a new car, and we ain't got the car vented at all, and it's got to be just burning up in there.
Did the hit by Bodine cause any damage?
No, he didn't say anything. He ain't said anything since the restart.
Richard Childress, the car owner for number 3.
Now we'll see what develops here. Bodine stays solid second. Earnhardt's in third. Ricky Rudd 4 car lengths behind Earnhardt. Running in fourth, followed by Bill Elliott. Now in fifth, Harry Gant is sixth. Strickland, the rookie's having just a terrific day. Haven't paid that much attention to Hut Strickland, but he's really in this thing. Running well. He's currently second in the rookie standings. Dick Trickle is the leader in that group. Hut Strickland having an outstanding run. There you see Earnhardt.
Ken, what Richard Childress couldn't see, because this front straightaway and pit road is curved, is just as we came back from commercial, Earnhardt completely lost control of the car coming out of turn number 4. We're looking at the left sides of these cars, and we could see the right side of his. He was so loose. He gathered it back up and still beat Bill Elliott down into the corner. That's why he's dropped back a bit from Rusty Wallace and Jeff Bodine. Now Dick Trickle has dropped back a little bit. They say they have a push in the car. It wants to go straight instead of turn when it gets to the corner. They'll put tires on to correct that if they get another pit stop. About the fuel mileage situation, Rusty Wallace's team manager, Harold Elliott, said, yeah, we can go all the way, and then thought for a second and said, go ask Childress. So I did, and Richard just looked at me, grinned, and shrugged his shoulders. It's going to be close on gas with some of these cars.
It's going to be close on tires, too, as Wallace continues to lead. You saw for a moment that 57 and 84 battle for 7th spot, as Hut Strickland and those 2 rookies are really at it out here now in their fight for Rookie of the Year honors. They've been banging off each other all around the racetrack. Hut Strickland having a great day. Wallace stays out in front in the 27. Here's 27 in front. Bodine is pretty well back from him. He's back about 25, 30 car lengths at the present time.
One thing I love about the Rusty Wallace team, with all the controversy, it hadn't affected their performance on the racetrack one bit. When it comes to business and tee it up on Sunday, these guys work well together and run good. And they may be motivated by the controversy. I don't know, but they're doing great.
There you see that 11 car going to lap down again as Rusty Wallace. He's on a rampage now, looking for his 6th win of the season. Bodine stays in 2nd. Car number 9, Bill Elliott, is slowing down. Elliott is slowing down, and rather dramatically here. Coming down off the pace, down in turn 1.
It looks like Bill definitely lost a cylinder because he went through the corner pretty fast, but down the straightaway, Darrell just drove away from him, put about 10 car lengths on him. So I would say Bill Elliott's lost a cylinder.
So Bill Elliott is falling back now, and that chance for $152,000 seems to be going away. 333 laps complete. Rusty Wallace, a title battle with Dale Earnhardt. How do you compare to him as a driver, Rusty?
He'll run good at North Wilkesboro. He'll run good at Martinsville, just to name a few. But then again, I run good at all those. I run exceptionally well at all those tracks. We're here at Richmond, where I don't know what's going to happen. I know I won the race there last time, and he didn't run too good. But then I also know they had an older car. Now he's got the new Chevrolet Lumina, which I think is a better car. It's going to be a knockdown drag out to the end.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
Bill Elliott is on pit road, Ken, and when the hood goes up, so do his chances of all that bonus money. It is something in the engine. Taking the hose over to cool Bill down. I thought that was for the motor. It's not. They're working with the distributor, which on the Fords is mounted on the front of the engine, taking off the cap to see if maybe the rotor's broken. Nope, they'll put it back on. But Elliott has lost the fire in at least one cylinder.
Set on the pole. But again, that skins game proves to be a toughie. The last man to win in that particular endeavor was Rusty Wallace back in March. Built to $152,000 today. Add $7,600 more as they head for Dover. Here's Wallace in front. Bodine still 2nd. Back to the line goes Wallace. Great battle in 6th place among the rookies. That's continuing around the racetrack. Here's car number 84 and 57 in that struggle. That's Dick Trickle in the 84 leading the point battle. And here's Strickland just getting back around him again. They've been like this, and here comes 84 back on the inside. Hut Strickland in number 57 and Dick Trickle in 84. This is the battle for 6th position on the racetrack. And now Trickle is coming out of it. He gets a low line off the corner. Hut Strickland settling down and running a terrific race.
Hey, we were joking in the driver's lounge in Bristol a couple of weeks ago, and Darrell Waltrip said, if Dick Trickle can be a rookie, I'm going to run my dad for Rookie of the Year next year. He said he's only 60 years old.
Well, he doesn't claim to be 60.
You know what a lot of people don't realize? Hut Strickland's father-in-law is one of the greatest racers that ever lived, Donnie Allison.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
Bill Elliott's engine will not refire, Ken. They put that distributor cap back on, took the air cleaner off, looked at the carburetor. It wouldn't fire at all, so Ernie just kind of dropped the hood in disgust, and they're going to push Elliott back to the garage area.
Bill Elliott out of the race. $152,000 will not be spent today. And the struggle continues for 6th spot. This is a dandy. Strickland in the 57. And Dick Trickle, the old Midwest short track star. Here's Trickle back down on the inside again, and that's Stavola car, and 57 motors away another time. They've swapped that position about 6 times the last 15 laps. They're having just a dandy scramble. Remember, Trickle is 1st in the rookie standings. Strickland is 2nd. There are now 342 laps complete. Running behind them, 8th position, 1 lap down, is Neil Bonnet.
They're both on the verge of being lapped. The 27 car Rusty Wallace is coming hard and seems to be working much better, so it'll be interesting to see if he can drive by these cars.
Here they are out of turn 4, the 2 rookies up for Rookie of the Year honors, which is a pretty big moment at the Waldorf Astoria in New York each December, NASCAR Awards dinner. And there's Wallace in the 27 trying to put them a lap down. All of a sudden, Wallace has the perfect combination, but how soon that can go away on this track, Phil?
Well, it sure can. We know how strong Dale Earnhardt was in the middle portion of the race, and then he got a little bit behind on the restart, getting a little hot in the car, and now he's a third-place car, about a good, strong front straightaway behind the leader. So the thing can change. So if we can get another caution flag, it could be anybody's race.
Is this a little dicey for Wallace as he moves up on these two guys who are fighting so hard a little further back?
I don't think Rusty Wallace grew up racing against Dick Trickle, so he knows what to expect from him. Hud Strickland may be a bit of more of a surprise, but I don't think there'll be any trouble at all.
I think we would do a disservice here if we left Richmond, Virginia without talking about this car and this driver. Lenny Pond is at the wheel of the number 90 today, and that car is owned by Junie Dunleavy, who's been racing NASCAR for 40 years now. Lenny hadn't driven a race in this series for 2 years. He drove this race 2 years ago, and the last time before that was 2 years before. So this is only his first race, or his second race, we should say, in 4 years. And there's Junie alongside. The team ran out of money in April and said, that's it, unless we can find a sponsor, we're all done. And then it came time to go to Richmond, and the old warhorse said, we got to get out there and give her one more try. So he called Lenny and said, you want to drive my race car? And Lenny said, sure. Went out and ran a short track at South Boston out on the other edge of town here and said, okay, we're ready to go. Last time I checked, they were running 19th. More power to you, Junie and Lenny. Hang in there.
Great story on Lenny Pond, car number 90, the Virginian. Well, car number 57, Hut Strickland's had his hands full here just recently in turn 2.
He sure has. After they got lapped by Rusty Wallace, Dick Trickle finally said, hey, I've got to get by him. And they went in turn 1, and Trickle slid up into him a little bit, got him up out of the groove, and drove away.
So now as matters stand, Dick Trickle has taken over in 6th. Hut Strickland has fallen to 7th in that rookie battle as Wallace continues to lead overall with Bodine 2nd, Earnhardt 3rd, Ricky Rudd 4th, and Harry Gant 5th. Trickle stays 6th. Strickland 7th. Bonnet lap down, and now of course we have Trickle and Strickland going a lap down. So that leaves us with 5 cars in the lead lap as this man continues to run like a vacuum cleaner, sucking up everything around the Richmond International Raceway. Wallace looking for his 16th career win as he comes down to the end of his 4th season. It's been a rather cantankerous affair with Raymond Beadle. May be back next year. Of course, that's according to Johnny Hayes.
According to Johnny Rumor Mill.
We'll be back. We move toward the finish. 351 laps are complete at Richmond International Raceway. 357 of 400 laps are now complete here this afternoon at Richmond International Raceway. I'd like to thank Phil Parsons for being alongside. He's headed back to the infield over there to pick up the family after he's had not so much fun this afternoon. Had a good time up here, he said, but that second turn took a big chunk out of his race car today. We're watching 27, Rusty Wallace continuing to lead over Jeff Bodine, who at this point is closing. Here's a story from the pits from Mike Joy.
I'm with Rusty's car owner, Raymond Beadle. There's been a lot of controversy here, but Raymond, you've got a good bunch of guys. I'll tell you, if World War III broke out right here today, your guys would still be out there single-minded focused trying to win these races.
Yeah, we're still trying to win. We didn't give up. We spent the first half of the race trying to make up, where they said Rusty jumped, but this AC Mobil 1 Pontiac, we just can't give up. And all day long, this proves that if you don't give up, you can come back to the front.
Well, now the rumor mill says it's looking more likely that you and Rusty will be together again next season. Any comment?
I think there's a good chance.
Raymond Beadle, who owns the race car that currently leads.
Here is Rusty Wallace in front. Bodine trying desperately to close some ground here. The interval has stretched out a little, and here goes Wallace around number 28, Davey Allison. Davey is currently being shown in 11th, 2 laps down to the leader. Bobby Hillen has just pitted, as has car number 6, Mark Martin, who was involved in an early incident today. Half the field, 18 cars, remain in competition. Let's check into Jeff Bodine's pits.
The crew chief here, Waddell, are you having any problem? Everything all right with your car? And can you tell me what they want?
Well, I didn't get the question, but the cars seem to be running good right now. The big question is whether we'll make it on fuel. So we got to gamble with the rest of them. So, we'll just have to wait and see if the caution comes out. If not, we're going to try to make it to the end.
Waddell, you answered the question. Thanks very much.
Waddell Wilson, the man with car number 5. And here is Jeff Bodine in that second spot. Earnhardt is maintaining third as Wallace continues to streak around this speedway with the lead. 10 lead changes among 7 drivers thus far.
Well, I think we know that Bodine's going to have to gamble. They're not sure if they can go all the way. It'd be interesting to find out if Rusty knows for sure if he can go all the way.
Indeed, if we can find out about Bodine and Wallace as to whether or not that we've heard about the Bodine car, need to hear a little bit more about Rusty Wallace's efforts out there in that number 27. There's the 5 getting around Davey. See the tire mark on the side of that. Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, everybody here has a can of gas ready. Now, Harold Elliott is still exuding confidence, but he's a good bluffer. I think that all 3 leaders are going to have to make a stop. They won't say because they're all pitted right next to one another, but I think they'll all be in before this is over. This is the first time we've run more than 40 laps in a row under green all day today, so no one really knows what kind of gas mileage to expect out of a full tank.
And 364 laps are now complete, Mike. Get down into the final moments of this one. Holding on is Rusty Wallace in the 27. You know, for years he seemed kind of mild-mannered when he first came on the Winston Cup circuit. We asked him about his aggressiveness, and he said, I had to admit it, Dale is the one who got me started. He agitated the heck out of me. He said, hey, you got to win a championship, you got to run like this. Get out there and let it hang out. Go like hell. Heck, when I got to bash indoors, it kind of got to be fun, said Rusty. I got to doing that stuff and getting away with it. I got to thinking I can do this, and I've kept it up. Dale brought out in me something I didn't know I had. Got to where he was one of my biggest fans, and he keeps saying to me every race, come on, man, just get out there and kick butt if you want to win the championship. So this year, of course, Earnhardt is number 1 by just a few scant points over Rusty Wallace in second. 73 points behind, and those two will decide it between here and Atlanta with that big race at Charlotte upcoming. I wonder if Earnhardt wishes he hadn't given him quite so much advice.
Well, I think Earnhardt probably was just trying to take a little pressure off himself if he could get somebody else that aggressive.
Go beat people up?
Yeah, you go beat them up and they'll quit looking at me.
Jimmy Means is now pitting car number 52. He's been running in 13th position. He's in. There you see Neil Bonnet. There's Harry Gantz, number 33. He's running in the 5th position. With them is the number 7 of Waltrip, a lap down. The 17 of Waltrip in 9th position.
Harry Gant slowed off the pace a little bit, and he's not that far from being lapped. Rusty Wallace is just a few hundred yards behind him and gaining quickly. Harry's car just doesn't seem to be working as well as it was.
Power steering seems to be working a little better on that 17. Look at him trying to dive down on the inside and hold that car in there.
Yeah, I bet that thing's driving a lot better. He probably feels like it's really easy to drive now.
Here's your leader, Rusty Wallace. Laps beginning to count down toward the finish of this one with 5 cars in the lead lap. 370 complete, 30 to go.
Well, this is a situation where Harry Gant would really love to get a caution, get a new set of tires on, because he's just on the verge of being lapped, and this would put him in trouble.
What about the number 5 car? Here's the 33 car of Gant, which is running in 5th, and the 5 car of Bodine. I bet the rubber's a little thin on that one now,
well,
too.
But Bodine is still closing the gap. It's, I tell you, he appears to be running down. If Rusty gets slowed in traffic trying to get around Harry Gant and Darrell Waltrip, boy, Bodine could make a big jump, maybe make a race out of this. When they start running side by side, they're not going to let Rusty just drive by.
All right, let's take a look at who's out of this race. That's a big story here today. Half the field has fallen by the wayside. Dale Jarrett out early, Phil Parsons out early, Brett Bodine, Kyle Petty, JD is retired, Jimmy Spencer's gone, Morgan Shepherd is out, Sterling Marlin lost an engine, Billy Hagan car. Goes on and on. Richard Petty, Ernie Irvin had bad luck here today. Derek Cope, Larry Pearson had a hard crash. And of course, biggest crash of the day, Butch Miller and Rick Wilson in a terrible crash up here at turn 4, but both drivers seem to be okay. And Bill Elliott has just retired, ending the hopes of the folks that cheer for the man from Dawsonville.
See, Rusty Wallace's worst fears are coming true. Darrell raced him 3 laps side by side and was able to hold him off. He's got Darrell and Harry right in front of him, and Bodine is coming quick. And this is the kind of situation where Bodine, he'll turn around real quick and he'll be right on Rusty Wallace's bumper, and it'll be a whole new race.
374 complete.
It's remarkable the way the complexion of this race has changed. Mike Joy touched on it in our last pit report. It's gone black and white, or perhaps more accurately, yellow and green. The first half of the race, all cautions. All those cars that we just saw dropping out, almost every one of them brought out a caution flag, and as a result, we had a whole series of 15-lap sprints. Now, as Wallace works to lap Harry Gant, we've been green and green and green here in the second half of the race, and it completely changes the strategy of the event, and it really puts the crews under the gun, because as Mike said, they don't know how far those cars will run on a full tank of gas, and without knowing that, as we come down here now with 24 laps to go, what a guessing game. And I think the drama here in the closing laps will be, number one, the strategy. Do you have to stop at all, or do you gamble and run a chance running out? And B, if you do have to stop, who can make that pit stop the quickest? Who can get that splash of fuel to get to the finish line? And as we've seen so many times before, this one could be won by the pit crews. It's still shaping up as a dramatic Richmond 400, even though right now Wallace seems to have it in control.
Well, John, here as we get down to the final moments, 377 complete. There you see the 27 of Wallace. The key is that interval. It's 1.9 seconds, and it was about 2.4 between this man, number 27, and the man trying to chase him down, Jeff Bodine, in the number 5. They're now at 1.9 interval. Back to this car. He's trying to get around Harry Gant in the 33. For Harry Gant in the 5th position, about to go a lap down. Here's Harry Gant getting lapped by Jeff Bodine in 2nd spot. Finish of Richmond shortly.
Here in the STP Pit Communication Center, the numbers game of Winston Cup stock car racing. Took a look at the standings. Earnhardt the leader, Rusty Wallace trailing him by 73 points. A key statistic on your screen just a moment ago. Wallace has now led 177 laps. That's more laps than Dale Earnhardt. That's a 5-point bonus. Wallace is currently your leader. Earnhardt is 3rd. The difference in points between 1st and 3rd is 10 points. So if the race ended right now, Wallace would have nibbled 15 points off the lead of Dale Earnhardt. And if he can do that at the rate of 15 points a race down to the end of the season, he'll be the champion. The difference coming in, just 73 points. The prize, a cool $1 million. Let's see if he can do it. Let's go back to Ken Squire.
Bodine has just nipped almost a full second away from 27 Wallace's lead. It was 1.9, it went to 1.6. Now it's a second or less as Jeff Bodine reels in Rusty Wallace with 386 laps complete. As we came back from commercial, you saw Bodine, or rather Wallace, take a shot at moving underneath Waltrip, getting nipped there going in the corner. He had to back out of it. He still hasn't accomplished that feat of moving around and lapping Darrell Waltrip. And therefore, here sits Wallace in the 27 on the lead. But the interval is now less than a second back to Jeff Bodine closing upon it. Earnhardt lies 3rd, Rudd is 4th, Gant is 5th, a lap down. We have one car just scraping the wall. Neil Bonnet, the number 21, up high in turn 4. No caution out. 388 complete this time by. Here's your leader, Wallace, looking for his 16th win, trying to win that national championship, fighting with his friend Earnhardt for that top honor that's worth $1 million bonus at the end of the year. Does he believe his team is the one to beat for the championship in '89? Earlier he said, yes, I really do. He says, we can control our destiny. This is a championship team and we're not going to be denied in 1989. Earnhardt and Wallace, both strong runners on tracks of this nature. Ought to be a great finish to the year. Watch this almost disaster going down the back straightaway. I think that's Bonnet's number 21 getting up in the marbles, and he just about loses it, able to gather it back up and keep on struggling.
And that's the same turn he said a blind hog could drive through earlier to us. So
everybody gets a little tuckered out there. 10 laps to go. Mike Joy, what about fuel?
Ken, most all the top teams use a computer to plot fuel and tire mileage. The computers of 2 of the 5 cars in the lead lap indicate they'll be out of fuel before this race is over. But of course, a computer is only as good as the information programmed into it. There's a lot of crossed fingers here in the pit lane.
Back to the old cross finger trick.
You know what's ironic? Jeff Bodine and Rusty Wallace got together to dash Rusty Wallace's hopes, and here they are racing for victory at Richmond.
Here's Bodine, his best finish previously on the racetrack, 6th in 1987 in this race. Looking to close in right now. There you see the 27 Wallace working around Alan Kowicki in the number 7, the Xerox car, up to the outside. Bodine in the number 5 stays with him. Alan giving you these pictures of the leader, getting a little sideways there is number 27 Wallace, coming down before this sold-out capacity crowd at Richmond International Raceway. Down into turn number 1.
Darrell did not fight him that time. Darrell let him go. He really did not hold him or force the issue, and I thought that was a class act move on Darrell Waltrip's part.
Remember that Waltrip is running 9th in this race. Alan Kowicki taking you down into turn number 1. Over there into turn number 4. Here they are just at that entrance to pit road. Now down to turn number 1, under the start-finish line and into 1. Trickle lies 6th. Hut Strickland is 7th. Neil Bonnet is 8th. Waltrip 9th. Davey Allison to 10th. Lenny Pond is up to 11th in car number 90. The Don Levy car having a great day, up to 11th. Attrition taking its toll. 17 cars are left from the 36 that started. Bodine has just moved around in front of Alan Kowicki in the 5 as you see them dive once again into turns 1 and 2 and onto the back straightaway. 395 laps complete. Rusty Wallace out in front. Looks like he may be out for his 6th win of the season.
I think he has it locked up if the gas holds, because he's not closing anymore. He's got cars to go by. If Rusty's gas will go all the way, he's going to win this thing.
You know, there's that Sears diehard charger of the race, and I'll tell you that for me today, I'd give that to Dick Trickle. Boy, he has hung in there and stuck with it in that rookie battle. He's currently running in 6th spot. Great run for him.
Bodine
and one
is
car
out
looks
of
like
gas.
it's running out of gas. Number 5, Bodine coming in. Bodine is on pit road. They're trying to top the tank. It may have burped, and let's see if it fires. He's coming down pit road slowly. Earnhardt is taking over 2nd. Bodine is falling back.
Ricky
Number
Rudd.
26, Ricky Rudd is coming in. Rudd is in. Now the question is, 397 laps to go. Can Wallace hold on? Ricky Rudd has run out of fuel. Rudd was running in 4th spot. He's on pit road to be topped. Number 27, this is the focus of attention. The Pontiac into the back straightaway. Rusty Wallace holding on, trying to win this race. Laps running out and the fuel running out.
I think Harry Gann has moved up to 3rd place now, so it'd be interesting to see as these cars fall out.
White flag is down, final lap. It could be my kingdom for a thimble of gas, or it could be all. Down for the finish.
27's out of gas.
27 is running out of gas. Going into turn 3. Wallace is slowing down. Wallace is into 4. He's coming out of turn 4. The man in 2nd is Earnhardt. Earnhardt trying to close, coming to the line. Number 27 wins it.
Harry Gann is out of gas on the
Harry
backstretch,
Gann
shaking
is out
it.
of gas on the backstretch. Earnhardt is coming across.
They're racing for position, Bodine and Gann.
To the line, Harry Gann is...
Oh,
makes
Gann
it
got
by
him.
just about 3 feet over Bodine in this incredible finish. As Rusty Wallace, going down the back straightaway on the final lap, ran out of fuel, but was able to run to the finish line and take the checkers for his 6th win of 1989 and his 1st win in the Richmond 400. An incredible finish.
This race had it all. It had it all. This is great. I love this.
Here he is pulling in, and he sort of missed the victory lane area. He's brought it to a halt right behind victory lane. 52,000 folks in the grandstand sold out on their feet. Everybody in the infield up after this unbelievable finish. Wallace in the last lap, running out of fuel. Mike Joy is standing. Let's go to Charlie Harville quickly.
Barry Dodson, the crew chief for the Kodiak car. Barry, what about the gas situation? Did you know?
We knew. We just about knew. And the thing is, Charlie, we couldn't give away 2 in a row. We gave one away at Darlington by racing the 3-car kind of for points. You know, we kind of had to do, we needed to make sure we beat him. We didn't do it. We got in the back, got in traffic. Today I told Rusty we're going to roll the dice here and hopefully circle the wagons at the end, and that's what happened.
I know you want to go to victory lane. That's Barry Dodson, crew chief of the Rusty Wallace car, and Rusty should be pulling into victory lane about now.
Rusty Wallace just leaning beside his car, looking spent, still looking like the aggressive driver that he is to win here on this day in 90-degree heat, 400 lap distance, 14 caution periods, which lengthened the time of the run to 3 hours and 23 minutes. And when you consider it's 120, 130-degree heat inside those cars, he baked all day. But he sure baked himself a great victory cake here at Richmond before this very discerning audience that loves this sport as they have for half a century. And here you've seen just an incredible run, and he is totally exhausted, probably badly dehydrated, trying to get himself back together. Rusty Wallace to greet all the folks in victory lane. An outstanding race, and right at the moment, that heart stopper when he ran out of fuel but was still able to get it to the line. We'll be back to meet Rusty Wallace, today's winner at Richmond, here on the Superstation after these messages. It has been a strange day here at Richmond International Raceway, and stranger still in victory lane. Rusty Wallace has been lying on the ground beside his car. He's just come back to his feet. Barry Dodson standing there to congratulate him. We're going to meet him in a moment, but let's go to Mike Joy.
Well, Rusty Wallace has been drenched. It's not been a champagne shower yet, but I'll bet the cold water felt good. Tom Cruise is going to make a movie about stock car racing. I don't think he has to. I think he could just shoot today's. What a finish.
It was a great finish, boy, I tell you. The crew did an outstanding job, and I'm going to tell you, this is the hardest I've ever drove in my life. This is the farthest I've ever extended myself. Call me a wimp, whatever you want. I'm give out. I'd like to thank Pontiac, Kodiak, Mobile One, AC Spark Plugs, and all the sponsors that helped make this possible. The Goodyear radio performed flawlessly throughout the day. The Richmond racetrack held up great, and I think that we're going to probably see more radial tires because we had great success today out of them. A lot of real good times, consistency on them. Again, I'd just like to thank everybody, my whole crew, Raymond, the sponsors, Don Miller, all of them.
This was a fighter's race. For the first half of this event, it looked like the pace car had the best shot of winning.
Well, yeah. You know, they pulled up alongside me, and Dale pulled up alongside me, and Cruz says, "What's he look like?" I said, "He's redder than a pace car." I said, "I finally think I outlasted the dude. He's beat me on the ground every race. I think I got him this time."
Patty Wallace, has there ever been a longer lap than that last one for you?
Oh, not at all. I was a nervous wreck. I'm so glad it's over.
Boy, these fellas know how to win, and they know how to figure it. Right down to the last ounce of gas and coast across the line. Rusty Wallace, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mike. Patty's she was at Watkins Glen, she was at Michigan, then she missed Bristol, and she missed Darlington, and we didn't win them. The crew threatened her for their life if she didn't come back to this. She came back, and we won again, so got a good luck charm, I think.
I think I know where she'll be on Sundays for the rest of the season. Congratulations. Ken?
Rusty Wallace has pulled it off. He's won his 6th race of the season. He closes a little tighter in his battle with his pal for that $1 million bonus at the end of the season, Dale Earnhardt. What a struggle they had today, and it's now down to 68 points between first and second after this marvelous contest that we've had at the Grand Old Fairgrounds in Richmond, Virginia. The new 3/4-mile track gave us all we wanted and a little bit more.
What I love about Rusty Wallace, he wins the race, everything, but the thing he's proudest of today is he looked over at Earnhardt and said his face is real red. I finally beat him in the ground because he's beat me in the ground my whole career. I finally got him. I think that's neat.
Yeah, they're tough guys, and those two have worked together now, and in fact, they're swapping cars, helping each other out with relatives, and with Kenny Wallace and the Grand National ranks. It's been incredible, but when they get down to it, they really don't give each other much room on this racetrack.
And what I loved, all these young race car drivers, they're hurt and everything. We saw 49-year-old Harry Gant just bounce out of his car, grab 2 cups of water, and almost jogged down to the truck to hurry up and see if he can't beat the traffic.
Busted leg and all.
49 years old.
It was a tremendous battle, and let me review for you again how it finished. Wallace came sputtering, puttering across the finish line at about 25 miles an hour as he ran out of fuel in the last lap and just barely gave a last gasp and made it to the line. Then Dale Earnhardt took second. Jeff Bodine was third, and finishing fourth today was Ricky Rudd. 1 lap down in fifth was Harry Gant. Darrell Waltrip sustained for 6th position today after having trouble with his power steering in the contest. Neil Bonnet held on to an ill-handling car at the end of the event that almost stuffed him in the wall to get 7th. And Dick Trickle out of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, came home 8th. Hut Strickland had a tremendous race and finished 9th today. Davey Allison, last year's winner, was 2 laps down at the end in 10th. And Lenny Pond, the Virginian. What a grand day for Junie Donlevy. They came back to finish 11th. Terry Labonte was 12th. Bobby Hillen Jr. wound up in 13th. Lake Speed finished this one. He came home in 14th position. Then Alan Kowicki, who was down and out early in the event, came back, stuck to it, and finished 15th. If there is a stick-to-itiveness award, give it to Alan Kowicki for his effort today. Dave Marcus came home in 16th, Mark Martin in 17th, and those were the cars running when the event was completed. We've gone through the attrition several times. The major crash of the day was in turn 4. It wiped out the hopes of Rick Wilson when he rear-ended a car that had spun, driven by Coopersville, Michigan's Butch Miller. It erupted in flame 50 feet in the air. They took Rick Wilson to the hospital to check his feet, but he's okay. He was verbal, he was conscious, and reminding everybody at home that he was all right. Both of them lost cars. For Butch Miller, it's a severe loss. He came with a car that he has driven all season in Grand National Racing. This was his 8th performance in Winston Cup competition, I should say. So that's really a tough lick for him.